Hi, this is Jason Swoboda from $7 a Pop and Mystery Grail, and you're listening to the Geekcast Radio Network.
Greetings, humans. This is Starscream, and you're listening to Toycast. And if any of you call me a partsformer one more time...
Now, Toycast. Oh, yes. Listen in to the only toy podcast you will ever need.
Hello and welcome to an all-new generation of Toycast as we get the origins of any and all toy fans that we can. I am, of course, TFG and Mike, and today's featured guest is Jason, the social media guy from $7bucksapop.com, Mystery Grail, and everything else he does. I would try to pronounce his last name, but I just can't. Something to do with Fets, and
It's pronounced Swoboda, but my online moniker forever has been Swoboba Fett, which is just Boba Fett with an SWO in front of it.
Yeah, I think I was practicing it for 2 days leading up to this. I'm like, okay, I think I got it. I got to the recording. I'm like, holy, I froze. I'm like, no, can't do it. Back out slowly.
It's okay. You got Jason right, so that's
well.
good enough.
I mean, I talk to a lot of Jasons, so it's good.
Well, there you go.
Absolutely. So you are the social media person for $7bucksapop.com, co-creator. How does that work?
Yeah, I'm the director of marketing and social media for $7 a Pop and Mystery Grail. It started I had met Lee, since we're both local, and I always say I had a bad day at work, and I was just like, hey, I know you were looking to hire somebody. I'll do whatever. And he's just like, well, hold on, I think I got something better for you. And a few months later, he was like, hey, how would you like to come on and do this role? And I was like, yes, that sounds perfect. Because it was the first time I ever got a job without someone trying to help me out or get me a referral. It was I got a job because it was me.
Yep.
And because I had collected Funko for so long, I'd been in the community. I knew what I was talking about. So it was nice to be hired to be me. So that's all I'll say. It's been fun so far doing this and seeing the company grow and just seeing, now that we're doing seeing the signature series grow and just all these really cool convention experiences that we're having and, having live signers and then working with Funko to have them appear at their booth and everything. It's a lot of fun. That's what we've been doing.
That's very cool, very cool. Yes, folks, we are going to actually be publishing this sometime after May the 4th. Not necessarily Revenge of the 5th, which I don't... Okay, I get Revenge of the 5th. It's supposed to be Sith, but you think it would make more sense if it was Revenge of the 6th.
Yeah, and just have Cinco de Mayo
exactly.
in between, and just, have something in between there. Is there any Star Wars characters that would go with Cinco de Mayo? Like Cinco de Greedo? I think that would be a good one.
That would work.
So just put Greedo in a sombrero, and I think that would be I think that's what we're gonna do, and I think we should start it. You should help get this out.
Absolutely.
It's Cinco de Greedo.
Hashtag Cinco de Greedo. We got it.
And then Revenge of the 6th. So there we go.
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of understand it, and I just never, I get it. It's back-to-back days, blah, 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 but whatever. All right, folks, we're going to start talking toys here on Toycast, and we have 42 questions, and surprisingly, a lot of people have been getting through these faster than normal. Usually, when I advertise this or when I send people emails about this specific Origins format, because we have stuff for comics and cartoons and all the other stuff you can think of. But when we started this back in 2021, I wanted it to be as an in-depth toys of your life kind of thing. So we ended up with 42 questions because apparently, according to some movie and some book, 42 is the answer to everything.
Yes.
And some people will end up going 2.5, 3 hours. Other people lately in the last, 6 months or so, they'll be like, yeah. And I look at the timer and I'm like, crap, it hasn't even been 2 hours yet. Where's, what? Okay, sure, fine, great. I'm glad I don't sit here for 4 hours editing the thing. So, it is what it is. But question 1, what is or was the first toy you remember having as a kid?
Oh, man, the first toy. I mean, obviously, I remember all the toys that we grew up in the 80s with. But I think the first one, I'm going to change the question. The first one I remember collecting was G.I. Joe. And specifically, it was the Cobra Eel that had flippers. You could put them underwater if you wanted to and ruin it.
Yep.
But the Cobra Eel, and that got me into G.I. Joes. And I think part of it was, I think my mom liked collecting them for me. I think she got me hooked on it totally. But it was definitely G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe was one of my first that I remember.
Very cool, very cool. Yeah, people tend to sometimes, sometimes if people ask, I will send the questions in case they want to have. But normally I'm just let's just go with the flow and see what happens. Lately, people have been answering questions in advance of it. Now you're just changing them all, man. I'm like, wait a minute. What? Okay, no, but
I'm practicing for a career in politics at some point, I think.
Well,
you want to talk? What's your favorite collectible? Instead of that, let's talk about the situation over now.
Pop or soda? Soda or pop? You drink them both, so it doesn't really matter.
And they're both Funko products, so. Is that question 2?
No.
Oh, okay.
That's not. No, Funko. No, like I said, this is a lifetime. This is more of this is your life and through toys kind of thing. So Funko does come up obviously, but it comes up way, way later.
All right.
You mentioned your mom. I assume she was the particular adult who was supportive of you playing with toys as a kid. Was there anyone who was unsupportive?
No. It was all. I mean, I stayed at home a lot. But even my friends, they all played G.I. Joe. We had no internet, so we didn't know what the heck that
exactly.
was.
There was no internet.
We played outside. We had toys inside, and then Nintendo eventually came around. But even still, she's the one who I think she liked going to Toys R Us every day. I certainly liked going to Toys R Us every day. So it was nice to go there and then collect G.I. Joes and Transformers and all that cool stuff that Toys R Us and Ninja Turtles eventually. That's what they gave us.
Well, they had to give us something because technically the Transformers toys continued on past 1987. Obviously, we're almost at 40 years. But the cartoon at the time in 87, it was yep, nope, we're done. Bye. I'm just wait, what? There's got to be some. And then I found the Green Machine, and I'm like, oh, okay. That'll work.
That'll work for me, yes.
Yep, that'll work. So what types of toys were your favorites to play with? When I say types, it's obviously action figures, but there's various types of action figures, or some people will be oh, what about the old Fisher Price flashlight or something?
Mm-hmm. So it was always I would play with Transformers, and I still have them, and they're very well played with. But G.I. Joes, they were the ones I would basically reenact movies, specifically the movie Predator, and I would reenact the movie with G.I. Joes. So I never played G.I. Joe in the sense of this is Flint and he's going to go against Cobra. It was always these are the characters from Predator, or a Predator kind of movie where I'm going to create them, and then I would pick which order they would get killed by the Predator, which I didn't have anything to be a Predator. So it would be this invisible thing killing off my G.I. Joes. And yes, I really love the movie Predator. So
very cool. Very cool. Very cool. So the G.I. Joes were the childhood toys that stood out more than the rest?
I believe that is the most accurate, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I liked Joes, but they didn't that wasn't the heart of my collection. I'm you give me two roads in a wood, and I'm gonna choose the one that I want to choose, and I chose Transformers over G.I. Joe as far as toys goes.
I had a great amount of those too. I saw the movie in the theater. I bought all the new ones. I remember being shocked that they killed Optimus Prime.
I remember you were the kid in the closet that cried, right?
I didn't cry, but I was just like, wow, I can't believe they're killing. They killed Ironhide, they killed Wheeljack, all the ones that they kill in the beginning of that movie, and it was just like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, so
and I'm like,
you were a sadist as a child. Okay, got it.
I'm just like, wow, they're actually murdering robots. And then, later on when they released it on VHS, it was through Family Home Entertainment, and they edited out Spike's line when he was, they edited out his line, and they edited out Ultra Magnus saying, damn it. I'm just like, why don't they put that on here? And it was, so years later we got it. But, I thought Transformers was great, but then the G.I. Joe cartoon tied in more with the action figures, and I hold the G.I. Joe cartoon in such high regards, but as far as movies, Transformers movie was better than the G.I. Joe movie.
Yeah, because there was actual weight to the story. You don't just, get to the end of the movie and, oh, he woke up.
Yeah. Well, originally they were in G.I.
I know.
Yeah, they were supposed to kill Duke, but then they were just like, well, we better not. No. Better not do that. We better not do it on camera.
Yeah, exactly. Do it off camera. Exactly. Do you prefer the label of action figures, dolls, toys, or other labels?
I don't care. I prefer they're action figures, Funko Pops are vinyl figures. They're dolls. I always consider to be like baby dolls.
Yeah.
Or like Barbie dolls.
Yeah. Because
that's what they're called. But I think it'd be great if Barbies were considered action figures now. I'm thinking about it. Barbie and Ken action figures. And Transformer dolls.
Well, I believe they do have doll-like Transformers things, or they've had them in the past. And it's funny you say about Barbie and Ken and we're not too Funko yet, folks. We will get there, but I have to say this now because I just finally realized why I never gave. I've only been collecting Funko since beginning of 2017. Mm-hmm. So I think I have enough miles on my tires to say this, but I finally figured it out. I never could put my finger on it why I never gave two craps about Freddy Funko as the mascot of the company. Mm-hmm. I never cared about Freddy as Batman or Freddy as Superman or Freddy dressing up. Freddy's just a freaking Ken doll. That's all he is.
He's a Fred doll.
Yes. There you go. You heard it here first, folks. Fred the doll.
Fred doll.
Oh, God. Yeah. And I have several Freddys now, only because I lived out there for a while in Vancouver, Washington. And I'm like, okay, well, at the time, I had to move away from Washington 2 years. Last year. In 2022, I had to move to Indiana, which is where I am now. And I was like, okay, well, I never got a chance to actually go to HQ. I might as well just buy the Pop Town, so at least I can say I have it with me all the time. And obviously, that comes with a Freddy Funko and whatever else.
Does.
Yeah. So it's funny because I never opened it before, and when I finally opened it, I was like, oh, you mean he's not super glued or attached on? Literally, I open the box and I pull the thing. He falls out onto the floor. I'm like, Freddy, you idiot.
That's how you break things.
Well, luckily pop vinyls aren't unless they're bobbleheads, they aren't super breakable. Good guys or bad guys? Which toys were your favorites to play with the most?
I guess I played with the good guys more, but the bad guys were always more fun and they had more features to them. Mm-hmm. For example, Destro. He was awesome. He had a metal head, and Cobra Commander, he either had the helmet or the towel. Like, those are cool to play
Yeah.
with. Megatron had a gun on his arm. Soundwave was a cassette player. They were just always cooler. They had the cooler features. Yeah, so I mean, and again, like I said, I would always play, like, I would act out movies with my G.I. Joes. So it didn't matter. I could make anybody the bad guy in that sense. But if we're going to talk about, like, the things I grew up with, I guess, I don't know. I would always play with the good guys and, like, have the heroes win at the end. But I always liked the bad guys. Like, they looked cooler, if that makes any sense.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. What is or was your favorite toy vehicle and playset? So you mentioned one of the G.I. Joe vehicles earlier. Is that your favorite, or is there another toy vehicle that you like more?
I gotta look up the name of it, but the Dreadnoks.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, they had a vehicle. I'm looking it up right now. It was the Dreadnok Ground Assault. That wasn't a very good name for it. That wasn't the name of it. Hold on, here it was. It was the Thunder Machine. That was, like, the coolest thing because it had, like, the gun turrets where the engine should be, which doesn't make any sense. But I would use that if I would make, like, a post-apocalyptic movie. That would be the vehicle they would use in, like, some sort of Mad Max scenario where they would just blast through. So I always liked the Dreadnoks, and I liked that vehicle. But I think that is quite possibly the coolest one. And I think that's only because I never owned the USS Flag. Outside of that, yeah, they were pretty cool.
I know a guy who I believe still to this day he owns 2 flags in his basement. Yeah.
Man, those go for too much money now.
Yes, but I mean he's had them both for years. I've known this guy for years, but I remember when he initially told that story to me, I'm like, really? Wow. Okay.
Oh, can we go play with it right now? Or
yeah. Well, I mean, this is the internet, and I was in Kentucky at the time, and he was in Illinois, so not really. You can't go play with it right now. Yeah, I'm all about the getting close to people at a distance. As long as I'm in my space and whoever else is in their space, I'm perfect. I don't do crowds. I don't do conventions at all. Mm-hmm. I just can't. It's just nope. What about play sets specifically? Set aside toy vehicles, but we just mentioned the Flag, but you didn't have that. Mm-hmm. So what would be your favorite play set?
Man, this is maybe the Technodrome. That technically counts as a play set because it was.
Yep.
So I think we'll say that one.
Oh, there you go. Did you and your friends ever pretend with your toys that you had? By this, I mean, did you say, I'm going to be this toy and you can be that toy? Like, Jason can be the Coke bottle top and Lee can be the piece of glass or something. I don't know.
So not necessarily. I mean, that came later on with, like, squirt guns and stuff in the pool, where we pretend to do things there. Yeah. And we'd play with. I also had those LJN rubber wrestlers for the WWF back then.
Oh yeah.
And the ring, so we would do that. But yeah, I mean, we would have there'd be a lot of pretend. I had laser tag. I had a lot of really cool, fun, like, toys that you could play with each other with.
Very cool, very cool. What features define a good toy to you? How true does the item feel in comparison to the source material likeness?
Are we talking about, like, original toys or, like, how new toys compare to old toys?
Toys in general. Like, what features define, like, you can talk about it in vintage, you can talk about it modern, however you want to do it.
I don't like it if they're cheap looking or feeling. But so, for example, one of the things that I really, really like is Super 7's reaction figures. I think those capture a complete vibe, and I just love the way they are. I think it's great. It captures, like, a feel of that time. I don't like the fact that their arms don't bend. And again, I keep going. I think I don't like them to feel cheap. Like, if it feels like a solid toy. Like, for example, I have it's the Spider-Man, and it's like 12 inches, I think. No, He's like 18 inches tall. And he has all these points of articulation. he wasn't terribly expensive, but it feels like a legitimate thing. Like, it feels like it should be expensive. Like, if they wanted to charge $80 for it, I could see that, but it wasn't that much. And I think that for me, at least, a toy should match the price point. Mm-hmm. So that way, if you're going to pay, $40 for something or $60 for something, it better have like sideshow type of accessories and all kinds of cool things with it. But my favorite toys, like even to this day, that if I were to get, are just the simplest ones, I would say. Do you remember when McDonald's did the adult Happy Meals a couple months ago?
Yes.
With the cactus
yes.
flea market. I love those things, and they're simple. You can't do anything with them really, but I love them. Like, they're just so neat looking and weird and unique. And I think that's what we need more of, is weird and unique stuff. Outside of that, like stuff that NECA does. Is it NECA or NECA?
It's NECA.
Yeah, NECA. The stuff that they do, I think, is top quality. I have no room for it to collect it, but I love them, and I think those are that's good money for your dollars, because some of those are getting up to like $40 now at retail, but it's worth it.
Yeah, no, the NECA figures, any of them, are definitely worth it, and they put a lot of care and love into them. I don't. So from just other listeners know this already, you don't. I had a toy collection from 2005 to 2011. 2011, things came up, needed money. Toys went bye-bye. From 2011 until late 2016, I still enjoyed toys. I still liked looking at them. I still liked being in the know on the news, but I had zero desire to collect them. And then I saw a buddy of mine out in California. I went out and visited him and his wife, and he had a Holiday Groot Funko Pop. And I'm like, wait, what is this? And when I got back home to Kentucky at the time in January 2017, I immediately started hunting Pops. And I'm just like, I haven't looked back since. And I have a few other non-Funko product things in my toy collection now in 2023. But for the last 5 or 6 years, it's been all Funko Pops. And sadly, now I have a 24-pack of Funko Soda. God, what am I doing with my life?
You're investing in something, because they're not going anywhere.
They're not going anywhere, and if you open them out of the box, they lose their value, folks. Don't open them out. Yes, open your toys, people.
I will tell you,
we will get into that.
Taking them out of the box does not ruin them. Trust me.
I completely agree. But there are some people out there who are like, you idiot, you took it out of the box. You just shaved off 75% of its value. Or whatever it is. I don't know. People are strange. So you're in a... This hurts my head and my heart. I'm going to say you're in a toy store, but those don't exist anymore. So you're in a Walmart, a Target, or whatever. Or maybe you're on your own website, whatever it is. What does so you're in a store. You go to the toy aisle. What does toy packaging have to draw you in?
For me, again, I'm very specific where it has to draw me in with some sort of, it has to appeal to the retro side of me, hit me in the member berries, if you will. Mm-hmm. Which is why, like I said, I really like the reaction figures from Super 7. I think those are like really, really great. They draw you in. I like being able to see what it is. Packaging is all. It's pretty much the majority of what gets you to buy it. I really do believe. You look back at those old Transformers figures, the artwork they had on the outside of the box, and you'd lift it up with a tab, like you'd lift the front up so you could see what it looks like inside. Yep. And the G.I. Joes had like that really amazing artwork behind them, and they had the figure with all their accessories and the card on the back. Stuff like that really like draws you in, and like that's what gets me. That's what got me with Funko initially too, with the Wacky Wobblers way back in, the year 2000. The year 2000. It's been like
23 years.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
But it was the packaging and like the neat stuff on the outside that draws you in. It's like almost like the figure or whatever's inside of it's secondary to the presentation. And I think that really to me is the biggest selling point. And I don't it's sad I don't see that anymore. It's a lot of times like I'll, for example, is it Mattel who makes the WWE figures now?
Yep.
Their box, like the packaging's all like, it looks like you could damage it so easily, like way too easily versus how it used to be with the blister pack on the card. It just seems like it's there's too much to be hit and dinged, and I don't feel an attachment to it. And then they're just like, oh, it's $20, and I'm like, whatever. I don't care. I don't care about that enough. But yeah, to make it something cool to bring you in, and sucker you in for life.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, and obviously now in May of 2023, thankfully somebody at Hasbro woke the hell up and reversed their open window. I understand wanting to try to save the planet, but at this point, isn't it a little late to remove a single plastic piece of window and have kids, come up into toy stores and ripping Bulkhead's head off and oh God, I pre-ordered. He's actually sitting here in front of me. The Transformers Core Class Sound Blaster, only because my two favorite colors are black and purple, and I'm only ever gonna have him in cassette mode. And he's a Core Class figure, so he's like, I don't know. He's about the same size. He's not even the size of a Funko Pop. He's tinier. He's about the same size as like the Jada Toys Nano Metal figs in cassette mode, but windowless packaging. You can just reach in there and rip the whole thing out, let alone rip the heads off of the thing. Sadistic kids.
Yeah, I don't care for that.
No. No. So I'm glad that they're going back to... glad they reversed their decision on that packaging because they finally came to their senses. Do you open your toys or do you leave them packaged? If you keep toys packaged, do you have a specific criteria for that?
Good question. So typically I'm opening them unless it's something I know that is going to mature in value at some point. It's that whole, what do the sneakerheads say? One to rock, one to stock, or something like that.
Yep. Yeah, something like that.
Sometimes I'll do that. And then it turns out that I stock both of them, and then they don't ever become like it's like they're overproduced. They don't have any value, and I wind up either giving them away or selling them for less than what I paid for it. So,
right.
But usually because I decided years ago that if I'm going to collect something, I'm going to just collect one thing. And that was Funko for a number of years. I take most of mine out unless they're autographed or something, and I can think of a different way to repackage them.
Right.
Usually I'm taking my stuff out and displaying it.
Very cool, very cool. Yeah, and the beautiful thing about, and we'll get into this way later, folks, probably in about 10 questions from now, but the greatest thing about Funko is, at least Funko Pops, and sodas too, but again, why would you want to put sodas back in the can? Was my initial hesitancy about sodas. I'm like, I can't just ever see it in the packaging anymore. You got to take it out because the packaging is a can.
That's correct.
But with the Funko Pops, I was like, oh, this is the easiest thing. You open it up, you take it out, you put it in whatever you want to do, and you can just easily box it right back up and put it right back on your shelf, and you're fine.
Correct.
Yeah. If as a kid, this is funny because some people lately have been actually answering Funko to this question just so they can cheat with it. But if as a kid or an adult you were only allowed to choose one toy franchise to collect from, which one would you choose and why?
Oof. Toy franchise as in like
G.I. Joe, Star Wars, Marvel, Transformers, He-Man, Voltron, Thundercats, Silverhawks, all that.
I would be collecting G.I. Joes still. I would still be doing that. I'd have like all tons of them. They would still be in the card hanging on the wall, and I'd be at G.I. Joe conventions instead of Funko conventions.
As an adult, do you prefer vintage toys or modern toys?
Vintage. As a lot of it is the simplicity of it. I don't know. I mean, I had a lot of toys growing up, but I like them better. We had rubber dolls basically with the wrestling figures, and that was cool. But I don't need all of them. So I just have I had the majority of them, And I sold them, and I paid for a nice vacation with that.
Cool.
And they were well played with. But like, yeah, I like vintage. I like vintage stuff. I like stuff that's even older than me. I have a few like really old toys that I keep around. Someone had sent Mike Becker. No, not Mike Becker. Someone had sent me a. They were called Sokies.
Okay.
And they were like old, I think from the 1960s, and they had like soap in them, like bubble bath.
Right.
And like you were supposed to take them in there, but once they were empty, you had this thing that just you could sit on a shelf or do whatever. And I like those things. I have one. I have the Dick Tracy one. But I don't need more. I have the one. That's all I need.
Very cool. Very cool. So, out of all your collection, your entire collection, what is one toy you always gravitate to more than the rest?
Well, it's always going to be. I got to think about this one for a second. That's actually it's a hard question, believe it or not.
Believe it or not, the question used to be phrased differently because I know too many people like myself who always have their minds in the gutters. Originally, the question was, what is the one toy you can always play with?
Gosh, I guess it's for me. It's the original Dick Tracy Wacky Wobbler.
Oh, very cool.
Years ago, when you joined the Funko Fun Club, they had a thing on there, and they were just like, "What's your dream wobbler?" And I put Dick Tracy. And like 6 months later, Dick Tracy came out. I was like, "Huh, bet I did that." But it's to this day it's my favorite. I have like 3 of them, and I have all the prototypes and everything for it. So
nice.
That's the one. That was my that's my favorite.
Yeah, for the last 6 years or so I've been screaming at the top of my lungs, Funko, you've done everything else 80s. Do an Alf Pop. They have they have a Wacky Wobbler, that doesn't count. I know they have a Wacky Wobbler. That's great. That doesn't count. Mm-hmm. Because can you imagine? I mean, it would probably have to be, well, they could probably get Alf into the 4-inch line, but maybe a 6-inch I don't know. I'm really trying to think.
I mean, don't you remember? I was just going through this today about Alf because whatever reason, the McDonald's menu song popped in my head. You remember the McDonald's menu song?
Good morning, class. Today we're going to learn the McDonald's menu songs and give a listener out there a chance to win $1 million. So, repeat after me. Repeat after me. No. Okay. Here goes. Big Mac, McDLT, a quarter pounder with some cheese, filet of fish, a hamburger, a cheeseburger, a Happy Meal, McNuggets, tasty golden French fries, regular or larger size of salad, chef or garden, or a chicken salad, oriental, big breakfast, egg McMuffin, hot cakes and sausage, maybe biscuits, bacon, egg and cheese, or sausage, Danish hash brown stew, and for dessert, hot apple pies and sundaes, 3 varieties of sausage, corn, 3 kinds of shakes, and chocolate chip cookies, and a drink of Coca-Cola, Diet Coke, an orange drink, a Sprite, and coffee, decaf, 2, a low-fat milk, also an orange juice. I love McDonald's, good time, great taste, and I get this all at one place. Got it? Okay, now you do. Big Mac, McDLT, a quarter pounder with some cheese. Too bad. Because if this class can do the McDonald's menu song all the way through, a listener out there is going to win $1 million. Win $1 million? Yeah. So let's try again. Big Mac McDLT, a quarter pounder with some cheese. Big Mac McDLT, a quarter pounder with some cheese. Filet of fish, a hamburger, a cheeseburger, a Happy Meal. Filet of fish, a hamburger, a cheeseburger, a Happy Meal. You're on a roll. Keep going. Big Mac is tasty, golden French fries, regular or larger sizes, salad, chef or garden, or chicken salad, oriental, baby crackers, steak, McMuffin, hot cakes and sausage, maybe biscuits, bacon, egg and cheese, or sausage, Danish hash browns, and for dessert, hot apple pies and sundaes, 3 varieties of soft or cold, 3 kinds of shakes and chocolate chip cookies, and a drink of Coca-Cola, Diet Coke, and orange drink, a Sprite, and coffee, decaf, 2, a low-fat milk, also an orange juice. I love McDonald's. Oh, we're so sorry. The person listening to this record didn't win the big prize. But tell him to check out those coupons. And get him down to McDonald's now to save money on great McDonald's food and give him more chances to win more prizes. And you guys? Yes. Sing something else. Good time, great taste. That's why this is our place. The good time, great taste of McDonald's.
Yes, pretty barely, but yes.
Yeah, so that popped in my head, and then I was like looking it up because no one knew what it was that I was working with. Mm-hmm. And then I came across the Alf ones from Burger King, and I forgot they also came with records, like the puppets.
Yep.
So there was like a chef Alf, a baseball Alf, a surf Alf, but they all came with like a record of some kind that you could play.
Yeah.
That had him like singing, like, you know, whatever.
Yeah, it was
hey,
probably
Wild Thing, Willie, ho ho.
Yeah, good old Paul Fusco.
Yeah. But yeah, I second that. In third, Alf would be amazing. It would be Alf-mazing.
Yes. It's probably, out of all the 80s pops that they've done to this point, it's probably the only 80s pop that I would absolutely go to jail for.
That and Mac Tonight.
Oh, Mac the Knife. Yes. Mac the Knife. Yeah. Him too.
Yes.
I wouldn't go to jail for him, but like, I told my late wife, I said to her when we were first, I said, there's one pop. I don't like, they haven't even made it yet, but there's one character. If they ever make a pop, I'm going to be like a bull in a china shop, and I'm going to be on the news every night. Some strange guy in Chicago bulldozed 7 targets just to get this alpha, and it still hasn't come out yet. Maybe Funko is in fear of me because they know the bull in the china shop is going to happen if they release an alpha.
No, I think look, I'm with you there. But I'll just send you one. You don't have to do any sort of damage anywhere. That'll be my promise to you. Hit me up when that happens, and then you can help me get the Mac Tonight made, and then I can get a signature series with Doug Jones to sign all those. So that's what I'm looking at.
That would be so cool. Yeah, I had to. Sometimes it's really hard knowing younger people. And when I say younger, I mean people in their 20s, because I had to explain by showing somebody a YouTube video of who Mac the Knight or Mac the Knife was, and they're like, "Wait, what?" I'm like, "Yeah." Oh, I'm like, "Yeah." How do you not? Oh, right. You're 20. You just turned 30. Okay.
Yeah, they're not gonna have that same association. With
no, because I'm old. I get it. It's okay. Oh man, so we don't like being negative around here, but sometimes it happens. But even though there are always toy lines that people never purchase, are there any that you specifically and purposefully avoid? This can be a toy line, a specific character, etc.
I mean, I kind of purged myself of Disney for the most part. I had a pretty extensive like Disney collection of pops. Mm-hmm. And then just one day I'm just like, I don't want these anymore. So usually I stay away from those. But there's nothing out there that I really like avoid on purpose. Mm-hmm. Like it's not like where I'm just like, there's no way, don't get me anywhere near those. Because I realize, I mean, I understand there's a lot of stuff out there for people to buy that are mm-hmm. people are really into. And if you pick one thing, it's just like, well, I'm not going to collect Paw Patrol because that's not for me. I'm not going to collect Bluey's stuff because it's not for. Like, I'm not going to go after like kid stuff because it doesn't appeal to me at all. So I guess you could technically say that I only like to collect the things that I like. So I will avoid things that don't interest me. So if I walk down, I guess the closest toy aisle that's filled at least a little bit is Target. Is Target like the best? I don't know. I can't even begin to think. Walmart
depends on the time of year for both stores.
Walmart gives me agita every time I walk through there. I don't like the lighting in Walmart, and the blue and the gray and the yellow. It's depressing to me. So I don't go there. But I'll go to Target, and then I'll walk around there, and then I get to the toy aisle, and I'm like, what is this? What's going on? What happened to toys? And I blame Toys R Us for that. And Amazon, their relationship with Amazon. But that's a whole different rant, so we won't go into that right now.
Well, I mean, somehow Toys R Us, embraced Canada, and they left us in the dust.
Oh, no, they're at Macy's. So if you go to whatever that is. So if you gotta buy some socks, a belt, and some Paw Patrol toys at the Toys R Us in Macy's.
So behind the scenes here, folks, I'm 6'1", I'm almost 500 pounds. There ain't no way in hell I'm buying clothes at Macy's. Sadly, I have to use kingsize.com, but that's just me. Oh Lord. Yeah, but and like you're saying, but you know, I'm the same way. Like, I'm only gonna collect what I like or but like there are just certain, like, again, it's back to you go into the toy store or into the whatever store and you look at it and it's like, I prefer this over this, and I would never buy, like, you're never going to catch me. I don't care how much they're worth. I don't care if whoever the lead actor or actress is signs the thing in blood as they're on their deathbed. You're never going to catch me with a Game of Thrones pop because I watched like the first 15 minutes of the first episode of the first season during an HBO free trial weekend, and I'm like, all they did was walk. They didn't even do anything. Like, what's the point of this? Like, no. So yeah.
I got sucked into Game of Thrones. I had all of the pops. I recently just sold the entire collection with the exception of the Headless Ned, the Hound, Arya, and a couple others. I kept a couple, but I realized after I finished the show that after I was separated from for a while, I was okay with how it ended, but I was just like, all right, I don't love this show. There's other shows I love more. Yeah. And I'm like, why do I have these pops? I can use that to like buy something I want, like a nice meal. Which that has gone to. I've had a couple really nice meals that were, and a cocktail that went with it. It was great. And I enjoyed that more than I enjoyed my Sam Pop. And Jon Snow. I enjoyed that more than those two things. So yeah,
absolutely. And the funny thing is, for me, and I wish look, there's only one way that they are ever going to get me to buy something that's Funko Pop branded Game of Thrones. The only way is if they put Grover Bluejoy in the chair as like a 10-inch or a 6-inch or a TV moment, because when Sesame Street came out with Game of Chairs, I was like, okay, that's my Game of Thrones. They're actually doing something there. And even though I've never, at that time, I hadn't seen the show, and even though I still hear all the references and I understand all the references and whatever, winter is coming and yada, 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 and all this, Mother of Dragons and whatever. But yeah.
Good old Cadiz.
Yep. Good old Sesame Street. Oh, boy. Are there any toys in the past or currently you wish you had not bought them? Are there any toys that you may have sold that you regret letting them go?
Oh, man. Yeah, there's a bunch of original Funko Pops that I regret letting go at the prices they went for. For anyone who knows, I had a flock Chewbacca that I sold for $100. At the time, I thought that was a really good deal. I had a glow-in-the-dark Darth Maul I sold for $450. I was just like, "Wow, that's pretty cool."
Wow.
Yeah, and like some of those old school Freddy Pops, I needed the money at the time. They went to people who wanted them. And I was surprised at the price. I'm just like, there's no way these are going to ever be $20,000. But other than that, those are my only regrets. I wish I still had my old Masters of the Universe, because my mom had thrown them out because I didn't play with them for a little while. Because one day because I found this, I had the sword. I still have one of the He-Man's swords. And I was like, Mom, where's the rest of these? I was a little kid. She's like, oh, I threw those out. You were done playing with them. I was like, but why?
All right.
That and Garbage Pail Kids cards, the originals. I wish I still had those.
Wow. Well, folks, we have severely jumped to the end of the show because much later there is a question on here, because I'm just going to tell the story now and we're going to skip that question later. But the question later is basically, do you have a my parents got rid of my toys story? Okay. So my story is, and it's so weird. Like Jason, this is the first time Jason and I have ever conversed. It's amazing. It's fun. It's whatever. But like how close we are and what we like and what we collect and whatever else as far as like the old franchises. I come from divorced parents. They divorced when I was 2 in 1982. I had most of the heroes and maybe a few villains at my mom's house. I had all of the villains and a couple heroes at my dad's house. So read into that what you want to read into that, folks. Psychology 101 for toys. But in 1986, when I was 6 years old, my dad was living in Rhode Island at the time, and I'm going to tell this story the way I remember it happening. I'm not going to maybe tell it the way it actually happened, but this is just what I remember. I went down there, or my mom took me down. However I got down from Massachusetts to Rhode Island, I don't even know. Normally back in those days, you could put kids on planes and trains and automobiles, and they could get there by themselves through, airline attendants and train, whatever. Anyway, I go down there because I had Castle Grayskull at my mom's house. I had Snake Mountain at my dad's house. I had both play sets. They were the only two Masters play sets I had. I never had Palace of Eternia, which is fine, whatever, no big deal. But I had the two main good guy, bad guy, whatever. Walk in one weekend to go visit my dad. All of it's gone. Oh, like, Dad, where are my toys? You're 6 years old, Michael. You're too old to play with toys.
What?
Six? 1986. I was 6 years old.
Why you didn't have a job yet?
No. No, and I love my dad to death. I absolutely do. My dad is single-handedly the hardest working person I have ever seen. This man he's a mechanic by trade. Since he was 16, he was born in, Mom was 54. He was born in 55. So by the time he was 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, he was working. And he has been working. He's like in his mid to late 60s now. So he told me, he's like, oh, I'm retiring. You should look into blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, okay, I will, Dad. And I did, and whatever else. It had to do with retirement and whatever else. And he goes, yeah, I filed for retirement to get benefits, but I'm still, he's still going. The man can wake up at 3 a.m., work until midnight the next day. And I'm like I have that's where I know I get my work, because I will spend. So for context, for the passing down of his work ethic to me, 2 years ago we did one of our top 100 countdowns, and it was the top 100 Transformers characters countdown. It was our 7th one that we've done in the past 14, 15, 16 years now here at the Geekcast Radio Network. And I put it for what ended up being 11 and a half, almost 12 hours of published audio. I put in 100 hours of audio editing work for the entire thing. It was 6 episodes of podcasting. Ends up being just under 12 hours of published audio. I kept track of it. I wrote a blog about it, whatever else. So trust me, the work ethic is there. I just can't do the physical work like he does. So I get it. But 6 years old, come on, give me a break.
No, but I mean, that's impressive. I do video editing. In college, I tinkered with radio editing, but film took me away from it because I was just like, well, I like this. So I know the difficulty that goes into editing down audio, and I used to do it with a Razor and an actual
Razor is the best tool.
Yeah, the actual Razor and actual reel-to-reel audio. And I had to cut that. And my favorite thing I did is we had to take a song and make it 30 seconds and and have it fade out and everything. Mm-hmm. So I took a song and I had to sit there. It took me about an hour and a half to figure out where to cut it. I did 2 cuts and it was perfect. 30 seconds. It was
nice.
What song was it? It was Average White Band, Pick Up the Pieces. I made it a 30-second song, and it was perfect. I got an A+ on it. So,
Average White Band. My first thought was Green Day's not average.
Aren't they though? Aren't they?
Well, that depends on taste.
Yeah.
And it's funny because by the time this episode releases, folks, this will be fine. This will be spoiler free. But everyone as of this recording, as of you listening to the sound of my voice right now, have you watched the Flash trailer 2 that just released today?
I haven't, but from what I understand is I don't have to, because I figured out of just like, let me guess, it probably starts with Michael Keaton, and then it's probably like a bunch of other stuff. And like the more they show Michael Keaton, it to me means that it's going to be not as good, because they're just like, look at this small part of this movie, and we want you to buy a ticket to this, please buy a ticket to this.
And I completely understand that, and I won't be buying a ticket to it until it comes onto video on demand. But right. I when you think of Michael Keaton 1989 Batman, there are I'll say four. There are 4 lines everyone remembers. What do you think the 4 lines are?
I'm Batman. You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
That's stop right there. That's I'm Batman. You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. Those are the 4 things he says. Okay. So, all right. I'm watching this trailer, and he's telling his story, and we get to the points of, and me personally, I don't care about the person whatsoever. My personal opinion is I think Grant Gustin would be a better person in that role than the person that they have in it, but that's just me personally. I don't care about any of the Flash bits in the Flash movie. All as I care about is the Keaton and the Supergirl and whatever else that they're going to show us. And I know it's essentially just Flashpoint all over again, but in the new trailer, in trailer 2, he says the nuts. And I'm just like, okay, fine. So right before we started this episode of the podcast, because I've had this for years in audio, you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. I took that, and I took the new thing, and I spliced them together into one track, and I leveled the audio, leveled it as best I could, and I now have one clip of the classic and the current, and I titled it MK, Nuts Then, Nuts Now.
Still nuts after all these years.
That's right.
Now you want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts.
You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
The only way they could have done it better is if he said, give the Flash a grant.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. That would be amazing. Oh boy. Yeah, we're just over here flashing Batman, folks. Oh boy. This is hilarious. I'm gonna have you on more often.
Give the Flash a grant.
That's
Give
right.
Supergirl a grant. Give everyone a grant.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you can get me to the movies to that one. Give me a grant, and then I'll go.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I assume it's fairly large, but I'll say the question the way it's written. How large or small is your toy collection? Do your toys take up the whole house, or are they relegated to one room shelf or something like that?
So my house, it was built in 2009. And there was, I was going to take over the basement. Like, that was my whole thing.
Right.
For those of you out there who have Funko collections, a cool, dry environment is the most perfect spot for them. And what's cooler and drier than my basement? So they're down here. There was a whole room that was supposed to be a utility room and then just like a spare room for storage.
Right.
And I said, why don't you finish that out? And that's my toy room. So that's my toy room. So I have a Funko room that's dedicated to Funko. It has vomited out into the rest of the basement. And upstairs, like, there's like little remnants of it. There'll be a pop in on a bookshelf in a corner. They just make their way in, but mostly I'm confined to the basement. And yes, it is. It's a pretty significant size collection. I'll just leave it at that.
Over 4,000?
No, I don't think so anymore. But maybe, maybe. I'm going to go with a definite maybe. Yeah, it's over, definitely. It's because I have pretty much, I'd say, the majority of Wacky Wobblers that were made. I have a good collection of Pops that I've scaled down several times over the past 6 years. I keep scaling down, but they keep putting out other stuff that I get, and then I hold on to it, and then I sell. Like, yeah, it's a perpetual cycle. But once you find like the one piece you want, it's sort of just like you get comfortable and you're just like, okay, now I'm going to just be picky about what I collect. Kind of picky about it now. So if they ever do more Scott Pilgrim stuff, I'm going to go crazy for it. But it's a pretty big collection, I'll say.
Very cool, very cool. Yeah, I just have, and I'm probably going to have to cut back, but I live by myself. I'm in a 1-bedroom apartment. I have my apartment set up like an office because I podcast, and I have, back in 2010, my 3 years before that, in 2007, my grandma passed away, and my grandma left everybody a certain amount of money to the remaining children that were alive, as far as like my mom and my uncles and whatever else. And my mom was like, okay, you can get one present from your grandmother with this money. What do you want? And at that time in 2010, a number of years earlier, I had a buddy of mine who had this giant L-shape desk. He had the whole the whole top part of it with all the cabinets and everything else, and I'm like, I don't want all the top part. I just want the L shape. I want the large L-shaped desk so I can have enough room for, at the time I was still collecting toys, so I can put my toys here and there, whatever else. I can have the computer. I can do the podcast, whatever else. So yeah, I have my, God, it's 2010. It's over a decade old now. Wow. So I have that here, and that's how my living room is, and I have bookshelves and other things around it, so I just keep the pops on there. Eventually, I'm going to go to a different company and get some sort of display vault air. I don't know what those are, but, we're not here to talk about that.
That's
right. $7 a wall. There you go.
That's right. We had talked about that at one time, and it's just not. It's not something we want to do.
It's fine.
No, it's a fine product. Our whole motto is there's enough room for everybody, so there's no reason to sit there and bring each other down. That's my opinion on it. That's my very what's the word I'm looking for there? It's me being diplomatic.
There you go.
But it's true. There's enough room for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. How do you display your toys? So do you do it in like these characters are with these characters are with these characters, or do you keep them all separate?
Now, I'm like a slightly, they used to call it anal retentive, but they don't call it that anymore. But
I still call it that, so it's okay.
Yeah, that's what it is. But my ad icons have to go with my ad icons. Uh-huh. My Funko originals have to go with my Funko originals. Scott Pilgrim and Letterkenny, they all have to be segregated toward their own thing there. I try to do it that way, where movies are movies, television's television. That's how I have to keep it, especially in the Funko way. But yeah, they line up better that way. All the Freddies are with each other. Yeah, just has to be that's my way to do it. Now, occasionally, does the 8-bit sneak out to where my actual video game setup is? Yes.
Well, of course. I mean, that's a no-brainer. I mean,
yes.
Right now, for me, the way I have my, specifically the food-based ad icons, the ones that I have, what do I have over there? Oh, God, I'm half blind. I can't. Kool-Aid Man, Colonel Sanders, Big Boy, McDonald's 5-pack, in the lovely $7 a pop 5-pack protector. Mm-hmm. The cereals and what, I have all of, so the way my apartment's laid out is my kitchen and my living room, there's a pass through, and there's it's not a bar, but let's say it's a bar. It's a step up counter thing. So I've got all of I'm like, oh, it's all food related. We could just have it facing out from the kitchen into the living room, and it's fine. It is what it is. Yeah. Yeah, no, Freddie Funko should just be by himself.
You only have the one.
Well, no, I have more than one.
Oh.
I did say I do have. I mentioned that I had the HQ Pop Town, but
that's right, you did.
I do actually have more than one, sadly, because some of them. And for me with Freddie, it isn't about him as Batman or him as Darth Maul, as cool as that Blacklight one looks from the Blacklight battle. That was last year, I think. I don't remember when. Anyway.
Yes.
For me, it's about Freddy in everyday life, like the Freddy Hollywood one with him with the Hollywood star, the one, Officer Freddy from NYCC. I have that one. I have Birthday Freddy because it's just him in the, not in the actual birthday suit, folks, but a birthday suit. You
don't want that.
No. Well, they've kind of given us that now with a devil in its hand.
Well, I was gonna say the Blink 182 set. They could totally make that with, somebody made. I saw it at WonderCon. They brought it up to show me, and they wanted to get Mike and Brian to sign it. They took the Mike and Brian heads from the Fun Olympics 2-pack and Freddy, and they put them on the Blink 182 3-pack.
Oh my god!
And it looked great. I have a picture of it.
Oh, you'll have to send me that so I can put it in the post.
Yeah, it looks great. Like I was like, this is amazing, and they should totally do this.
That's
I doubt they will.
Yeah,
but they should.
All right, so obviously everybody is safe, humans, pets, whatever you have in the home, but if you can only keep one toy from your entire collection, what would it be and why? And basically how I explain this to people is, the house is on fire, what is the one thing you would run in and save?
Oh my god. The one thing.
One thing, one toy, one whatever you want to call it.
My god.
Without killing yourself. That's the thing. You have to survive.
Oh, I have to.
Yeah, there's no Walking Dead Swoboda.
No. As far as I'd probably grab the Dick Tracy prototype.
Yeah, that's what
I think that's what I would grab. That would, because I can replace the other stuff more than likely. It would take a lot of money, but that one, I feel that took me so long to track down and get. Yeah, I think that's the one I'm doing.
All right, folks, we're going to go to a quick ad break. You're going to hear some ads and other stuff, and we'll come back to finish off the last part of the questions with Jason right after this.
Hello, geeks and geekettes! Looking for a podcast that covers a vast array of topics? Then check out Altered Geek Unleashed, where we discuss our thoughts on this week's geeky news, tech, gaming, television shows, movies, cartoons, comics, and more. So, get altered, get geeky with the Altered Geeks, every Friday on the Geekcast Radio Network.
Because the world needs another movie podcast.
The Geekcast Radio Network presents for your listening pleasure the Cinema Geek.
Hosted by Amanda, Kevin, Matt, and Dan.
Each week we dive headfirst in the landscape of movies as we discuss movie news, play movie games,
go in-depth on reviews,
and even have a top 10 countdown or two.
Also, don't miss our Director Retrospective series, where we review noted directors' movies film by film. Bottom line is, if you love movies and love podcasts, you need to experience the Cinema Geeks.
You can find us on iTunes, Blog Talk Radio, or GeekCastRadio.com.
Like science fiction? Of course you do, or you wouldn't be listening to the Geekcast Radio Network. Well, the Marku 42's Universe podcast is an award-winning sci-fi radio show that's been around for over 10 years. We cover everything from Doctor Who to the MCU to pop culture and everything in between. A new show drops on Tuesday mornings on the GCRN website and all of the major podcast platforms. So listen to the Marku 42's Universe podcast from the universe and beyond.
One of the primary themes of ToyCast is that we focus on throwing it back to the past. We are who we are today because of the nostalgic memories and experiences from our childhood. Obviously, we wouldn't be doing this show if it weren't for the toys that made us so addicted to nostalgia. Throwback Toys Chicago is your primary go-to collectible store to reclaim the toys that drove those memories and experiences. Specializing in action figures from all of your favorite toy lines like Star Wars, G.I. Joe, He-Man, Transformers, Silverhawks, Ghostbusters, TMNT Mask, and more. Get your dose of nostalgia with a shop run by collectors for collectors. Whether you are looking for a loose G.I. Joe ice cream soldier, a packaged Leonardo, recent Star Wars Black Series figures, or an AFA-graded Boba Fett, Throwback Toys Chicago is all about throwing you back into your geeky obsession with toys. Visit the shop at 1450 North Ashland Avenue in Chicago, Illinois, just 2 blocks south of Ashland and North Ave. Call the shop at 847-830-1031 or email them at tbtchicago@gmail.com. Visit them and give Throwback Toys Chicago a chance to throw you back to your childhood. All right, we are back, and on the opposite side of the question that we left with the ad break, here's the Toy Box Challenge. Now, I've been prefacing this by saying I assume this is in inches, so you get one 18 by 18 by 18 box. The only toys you can keep have to fit in the box. What can you pack into it?
My goodness. I mean, you could fit in like a bunch of Funko Pops for sure. I could fit, especially out of box, so they don't have to be in there. But I would probably keep my autographed Pops in that box.
Nice.
Is this just like the pack away forever, or just a?
Yeah, it's I mean, it's just like you can only, the only toys you can keep have to fit in the box. So you fit all these toys in this box, and then the rest of your toys are poof.
Yeah, that makes me wish I like collected like versions of like flat Stanleys or something that I could fit a lot more in there. Yeah, I would definitely do that, and I would probably put in my original Nintendo Entertainment System.
Very cool.
And a couple of really good games that I'd have to think about, and that's a definite Sophie choice situation for sure.
Oh yeah. You got your Donkey Kong, you got your Super Mario Brothers 3, you got your classic SMB with Duck Hunt, you've got Excite Bike. Yeah, all that stuff.
Mega Man 2.
Ninja
Gaiden. Jeez.
So much.
Castlevania. My goodness. So many.
So many. All right, folks. Lately with all the guests, because most of them are this seems like a redundant and stupid question, but are you a Funko fan?
A what?
What's that? I don't know what that is. Why would you have me on this toy podcast to talk about it?
Yeah. Yes, I am. I have 2 tattoos to prove it, and yes, I am.
Yeah, you were also a Funko Hall of Famer. How did that happen? Tell that story.
So not only am I a Funko Hall of Famer, but they awarded me the Lifetime Achievement Award in 2021. So I've hit every possible milestone you could get. I never got like Collector of the Year or whatever at Fun Days, but I got Hall of Fame. It essentially, I was collecting before there was even a Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
That started in 2005, and that was the year that Mike announced he was selling the company to Brian. And they had 5 inductees. I got in on the 3rd year, so that was 2007. I was inducted. I was inductee number 18. So yeah, it was really cool. Wasn't expecting it, and when they called my name, I was completely blown away, and it was an honor because there weren't that many of us at the time, and to be recognized.
There was only 17 other people.
There was only 17 other people, but yeah, it was something else. It was great. And I mean, it was another honor when I got, word. They told me that they were going to give me the Lifetime Achievement Award. And I was just like, wow. Like that was it really was an honor because, I've collected a lot of stuff over the years, and you don't get that same connection. I didn't meet as many, lifelong friends that I've had in Funko like I have now. You see, it was a unique experience could still be a part of this. It's been wild ever since that happens. But yeah, to be in the Hall of Fame, it's fun. It doesn't come with many benefits, but that's all right. You're part of something that there aren't that many people. There aren't even 100 inductees yet. So I think we're coming up on 100 this year. Whenever the next ones go to, yeah.
All Very cool, very cool. So what is it about Funko Pop or Soda or whatever they're currently doing that you like the most?
I mean, initially it was I started collecting the Wacky Wobblers, and
Right.
what got me was initially like it was Bone Daddy was the first one I got, and then El Diablo, and then I saw all these ad icons that they did, and they had like Popeye and like all these like really old cartoons that I used to watch when I was a kid, and I'm just like, these are great. Like I really enjoyed this stuff. But like the ad icons were awesome, like Count Chocula, Frankenberry. So it was like all these things that I remembered as a kid. I'm just like, these are, I enjoyed it. And then I stalked a board, and they had a message board called Wobble World. I was like, lurking in the shadows. Then I joined in, and everyone was really nice. And we all got together in Vegas in 2003. And then once you actually meet the people online, which they say never talk to strangers online, and especially don't go to Vegas with them. We did all those things, and I lived, and no one tried to kill me. So that was a good thing. And I was just like, okay, I think I'm going to continue to collect this. And I've never looked back, really. I've questioned, what am I doing? Like why am I spending all this money on this stuff? But I've had a lot of fun doing it, and it's just something, again, about the simplicity of what Funko puts out down to its core. I mean, I don't watch anime. I don't collect a lot of the stuff that they put out because they put out so much, it's impossible to keep up with everything.
Yeah.
But, it's they're saying is, there's something, everyone's a fan of something.
Yep.
So they're eventually going to get it, right? So, yeah, I don't like Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't like all these different animes. It's not my thing. But hey, I love Letterkenny and Scott Pilgrim, and I'm like, that's great. Like, I'm like, I'll be super into these particular things, and that's that.
Wait. You are the first person I have ever heard bring up Yu-Gi-Oh! First and say, and that's fine. I'm not going to say, oh my God, he's not a fan of it. I watched the show in my 20s when it was on, and I liked it, and I have. We'll talk about that later. But it's like, usually people are like, yeah, I don't watch anime. I'm not a fan of My Hero. Like, oh my God, anime is on overload right now, which is great for those anime fans. That's awesome. That's great that they have their. I'm over here in the corner, just like, can I have an elf, please? Please. I don't want it to wacky wobble. I want it to pop. Oh man, yeah, no, and that's the thing. Like, I always tell people, and I've been saying this for the last 6 years. Yeah, you're right. They're saying, obviously, is everyone is a fan of something, and that is absolutely true. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's all about character. It's not about, I don't need every single Transformers pop because, I can't even afford the NFTs, even though I want at least 3 of them. I know I could maybe afford 2 of them, but that third one, I know he's supposed to be limited, but Gold Optimus Prime, the price of that thing, I have a heart attack every time I look at that. Oh, God. But for me, it's like, it comes down to the character. Like, we've over the past 15 years or so, we've interviewed Greg Berger 3 or 4 times, or 2 or 3 times. Greg Berger, voice of Grimlock from Transformers. I have Greg Berger. I actually just got. I've had the shared, and I'm not. Since we're still talking about Funko, folks, so we're going to talk about this. I know several people who are, and I'm going to say it this way about in general, who are sticker whores and will. Oh my God! I need to have the same character with this different sticker. Are you a stickeraholic?
No, I'm not. I don't. I've never cared about the sticker because I would always be like kind of snotty with people. I'd just be like, I don't collect stickers. I collect Funko. But it's true. I don't. So I don't care. As long as I get the pop, it doesn't matter. If I get it loose, no box, like, okay. Yeah. But if I'm keeping it, that's fine. Who cares?
So what was this? Was this 2020 or no 20? Wow, really? It was only 2021, huh? Grimlock was a 2021, back when they had ECC, or back when Funko had a presence at ECCC. Grimlock was a shared exclusive through GameStop. I had the shared exclusive sticker for the longest time. Recently, I was able to get the con sticker at a fabulous price. I don't even remember what it was, but it wasn't It wasn't rent, so that's good. But I got the con sticker. The first thing I did when I got my lovely $7bucksapop.com order in, I threw it in a Pop Shield protector, and I have the other shared sticker Grimlock also in a Pop Shield protector. I'm giving that away to a friend of mine. Her son just had a birthday in the last couple of months, and I'm going to pass that on to him because I don't need 2 Grimlocks. Now, if Grimlock had blue eyes instead of red eyes, maybe I would keep it. But because it's the exact same pop in the exact same box, just with a different sticker, I don't need them both.
Yeah, and that was we did a signature series with him too.
Oh, did you? Dang.
Yes, we did.
That is awesome. Very cool, very cool. What else about Funko do you want to say? Anything else you want to say about Funko?
I'm still a big fan of Funko, and I probably will be forever. It's something that it's too ingrained with me. It's too associated with me at this point. Over 20 years. That's more than half of my life has been spent now with a particular collect. And that's not to say I don't have interests elsewhere, because I do. Yeah. I don't sit here all day and just talk, wake up. It's just Funko. Even though I work around it. And most of my day is spent adjacent to it, but I'm I have other interests as well. I'm more than just that.
Yeah,
I'm a person. I'm well-rounded.
Yes, you may be well-rounded, but I'm a keg. Yeah, I mean, is it, again, I have, it isn't my original one, but I have the 1985 Astro Train Generation 1 Transformer sitting on my desk. I have, like I said before, a bunch of the Jada Toys Nano Metal Figs, which are just the die-cast metal figurines of the various Transformers characters. I have a Hot Wheels Super Pursuit Mode kit from Knight Rider. So, yeah, I mean, all of our interests vary. It's not just Funko. And this show, before I even knew about Funko, existed. So, I mean, it was all about toys in general. So,
well, yeah. Astro Train is one of my Transformers that isn't broken that I still have. So, Astro Train.
That's good.
The bomb. Yes, he's the bomb. I love Astro Train. Especially in the cartoon when Astro Train was shorter than Starscream, but when he transformed into the shuttle, everyone could fit inside. I always loved stuff like that. It was my favorite.
Mass shifting, folks. You gotta love it.
Is this the fate of the mighty Decepticon Empire? In the days of Megatron, it was not like this. You mean Galvatron? Hail Galvatron! Hail Galvatron! Hail Galvatron! Well, they were the same guy.
All right. What was the most money you spent on a toy?
So it was probably a Wacky Wobbler. Believe it or not, the most I've ever spent on a pop was $140, and I've only done it once. And it was for Snake Plissken.
Oh, very cool.
I got a good deal on it, and I'm just I want this one. So Escape from New York is one of my favorite movies. And I'm I want this.
Yep.
But I think I spent $350 on a Freddy Funko Wobbler. And that was the most. I don't count prototypes because...
Yeah, no. That's... no. Protos and APs and all that, that's a whole other echelon of game.
Yes, but the most I have spent was spent $350 on a Wobbler. Pop wise, it was $140 for Snake Plissken. Before that, it was $95 for Ghost from Game of Thrones, which I didn't make my money back on that when I sold it, but whatever. It was a FOMO. I was just this is the only one I'm missing, and I want it right now. Who has it? And if I had waited 3 more months, it would have been $30.
Oh, wow.
Whatever. You live, you learn.
Yep. You live, you learn. You live, you learn when it comes to scammers, folks. So I have, again, I'm not Freddy obsessed, but there are specific ones of him that I I would love to have that in my collection. I was new to Mercari, and I've not been new to the online selling market. I mean, eBay, there have been plenty of eBay scammers out there in the past and whatever else and all that. So, but I saw, and there were plenty of pictures, and there was certificate of authenticity and all this stuff. Social media Freddy Funko Pop for $200 or $225 or whatever it was. I paid the money, or Mercari sent and that's what I love about Mercari. They automatically send the sellers oh, hey, by the way, we sent the seller a reminder that they need to still ship your item a month. And then I'm just like, screw it, give me my money back. So Mercari refunded me. I still don't have a Freddy Funko social media pop, and I probably never will. And I'm okay with that now. Mm-hmm. I wasn't then during the transaction because I'm like, ship it. You have these photos. You've shown it to me. Mm-hmm. Ship it. You have the money. Hello. Like, I paid you. Give me my shit.
Yeah, especially if you can't, like, there's no point of scamming if you can get your money taken back from you. That's silly.
Exactly. Like, isn't that the whole point is we give you money, you give us stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, come on. And it's really not the end of the world. I just think it's really cool that they did a Freddy Funko that's very Funko with the jean jacket and the dark blue and the phone in his hand. And because like I said, I've been a podcaster for 15 some odd years now. I'm on social media all the time promoting and talking about and whatever podcasts and all this and all that and everything else. So I figured, hey, social media Freddy, that would be kind of cool for me to have. Like, and I know, again, we've already talked about this a little bit with, the value, blah, blah. I would probably have him out of box sitting right here next to.
I am Batman.
You know.
That's cool.
I guess. I don't know. I was so, and I promise we will move on, but I was so worried. And luckily, when they announced, like, okay, so Lights and Sounds Batman is, I forget what his last name is, but it's another Jason. It's the licensing guy at Funko that does the voice for
I Fight for Justice.
Yes, we know. You know,
he did the voice on that?
Yeah, Jason, the licensing guy.
I had no idea.
Yeah. I saw the whole video of him talking about it and whatever else. I would love to get him on the show. That would be cool. That's probably never going to happen, but it would be cool.
Hey, did you ask him? Ask him.
I think I did ask him on Twitter, but I never got a response. It is what it is. Maybe I'll send him an email or something. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, so Lights and Sounds Batman, it's his voice. And Lights and Sounds Vader, I don't think has a voice, and Lights and Sounds Flash, I don't think has a voice. I think it's just sound effects.
Mm-hmm.
They announced Lights and Sounds Optimus Prime.
It sounds like Peter Cullen's voice.
I got excited, and then I got scared before I ever saw the Disc Trackers video. Mm-hmm. And by the time this episode is online, people are hearing the sound of our lovely voices here. It's already been out. But I saw the video that Disc Trackers posted, and I'm like, yep, okay, bye now. Got it. It's him. And I'm like commenting on Disc Trackers' post. I'm telling everybody in all the groups I'm in, I'm like, yep, I know, because I've paid attention to the man's voice for 40 years of my life.
It's a very distinct voice. It's like part John Wayne, part robot. It's great.
Yep. And my only, and I'm not really disappointed with this, but again, I went back and I looked on the Funko website and I'm like, oh, right, they have a description here. Lights and Sounds Optimus Prime says 2 phrases. More than meets the eye and Autobots roll out. And I'm like, you have Peter Cullen in a voice booth doing lines. You gave, not complaining, and I'm not saying anything against the licensing guy that I eventually want to have on the podcast. You gave the licensing guy of your own company 3 lines. You couldn't give Peter Cullen 3 lines to say? You only gave him 2?
Well, they probably could only afford the 2 because well, no, because Peter Cullen's a union voice actor, so he probably had something he had to get for it.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. Again, I'm very happy that it's coming out, or that it is. But again, by the time people hear this, it'll be out. I'm very happy with it, but that initial thing of the news being announced and them not saying anything right away about it, and then obviously seeing the Disc Tracker, I'm like, oh, okay, fine, I'm good.
Yeah, I was worried it was going to be like a Hallmark situation when they did Vacation, but didn't use Chevy Chase's voice.
Yep.
And I was worried it was going to be something less like, all right, Autobots, roll out, or something like that. Hey there, Ultra Magnus. How you doing? All right. Hey, buddy. It's me, Optimus Prime. Aha. Do you got a Canadian voice actor to do that? That's right, buddy.
Yeah, well, I mean, there is a Canadian voice actor that does Megatron in Beast Wars, and that's amazing. And he eventually did do Optimus in Transformers Animated, so that's even cooler. I've talked to him 3 times. Love David Kay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait, that's not the right saying, you idiot. I have all kinds of voice things around here, folks.
Are you yelling at your toys?
Yes. So on the flip side of the money aspect, what was the cheapest toy you bought, or what was the best deal you ever got for a figure that may have been worth quite a bit more than what you paid?
Other than free, which is always nice. That was worth something.
Yeah.
Oof. I had some. This is kind of. Let's see. That's a really hard question because it's hard to say. I can tell you that I got a good deal on a movie poster, I thought. So that
cool.
I'm going to call it that. I got a really good deal on a original Scott Pilgrim versus the World poster. And I thought that was an excellent deal. I got an original movie poster for $20, I think. And I thought for Scott Pilgrim versus the World, I thought that was a good bargain, in my opinion. Oh, here's another good one. Somebody years and years and years ago was selling some Funko stuff, and I don't think they knew what they had, and they listed it wrong, and I ordered it anyway, and it wound up being for a 48-piece Lefty Lime, which at the time was like a $300 wobbler, and I got the entire box of fun for like $100.
Oh, wow.
Because he said, no, it's just Lefty Lemon, and I was like, okay. But then I got it home, and I'm like, son of a bee, look at that. Yeah. I like finding that, and they're getting harder to come by, like trying to find old wacky wobblers. There were a couple that eluded me for years, like the gray-haired beatnik and the gray rat fink that was only in Japan without spending too much money. So I still managed to spend under $100, which is my general rule. Don't spend more than that. But finding those pieces you've been looking for like, 16, 17 years, and then finally getting it at a price that's reasonable is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. What modern, which I know there probably aren't any, but what modern and or vintage toy lines are you currently collecting?
Funko. That's the answer to both of them.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. It's the answer to everything. Not only is 42 the answer to everything, Funko is the answer to everything.
That's correct. Yeah, I'm always looking to add pieces of my old Wacky Wobbler collection. Outside of that, gosh, I don't know. There's nothing like I'm really like actively searching for, because like a lot of stuff I had filled in the gaps for or forgot that I had. Like I thought I had missed an entire. Remember McDonald's Happy Meals used to have the Transformers?
Oh yeah.
I thought I was missing an entire set of those, and then I opened up a box at my parents' attic, and there they were, and I was like, oh, well, now I have them.
Well, at least your mom didn't throw those out.
No, she would never throw out anything from McDonald's, with the exception of she threw out, I think because they got water damaged, the McNugget buddies that you could like put cowboy hats on and stuff.
Yep.
But yeah, other than that, I will occasionally piece together like old movie posters that I'm trying to find. There's not that many I need anymore, but there's a couple like old movies that I'm just like, I really would like a movie poster for this. But I've managed to find like good deals on a couple of them. But I'm trying to think of I'm trying to find an original Reservoir Dogs poster, because the one I have, I found out's a reproduction. So I would like to get an original one of those. Yeah. And then whenever he releases his last movie, I want that too.
Yeah. I have it's probably not it's the original poster, but it's not, it's like it's the original poster, but it's probably not the one from 1986, obviously, because they're everywhere. I have the original Transformers the movie poster. I've got that framed behind me. I still need to hang it up on the wall. I've only been living here a year, but I've got that. I've got a Generation 1 cartoon poster for Transformers. I've got the 2 Shout Factory movie posters that if you bought both versions of the Transformers the movie, I think it was the 30th anniversary edition or 35th anniversary.
Oh, nice. That's
so
awesome.
I've got both of those. I've got those framed now. I've got a buddy of mine sent me an artist friend of his, did a side-by-side of Batgirl and Nightwing. I've got a naughty Batgirl and red Nightwing, because New 52 Nightwing is my favorite, because the black and red is just pops more for me, and plus I love Kyle Higgins' writing. What else do I have? I have I forget which year it was, when they were just about to hit issue 50 for IDW's Turtles comic, they did the whole big poster. I've got that signed by Eastman and Kurnow and Waltz.
Oh, cool.
And I've got a friend of mine, Camillo artist. I forget what his name is off the top of my head, but he's overseas, and he did a He did a Turtles in Time character select screen homage, and it's him and Jamie Johnson. And it's a really cool. I'll have to send you a picture of it because it's so cool. But I have to hang all these up, and I haven't had a chance to do so yet.
Then you're going to run out of wall space.
Yeah, well, I don't have that many, which is good. No, the only way I'm running out of wall space is if I get some of those air things we were talking about earlier. Do you visit toy shows or conventions? When you visit toy shows or conventions, do you have a typical methodology? Do you bring a certain amount of money for what you're searching for, etc.?
Yeah, so, I mean, I go for work. So yeah, I'm usually at the big ones. I'm usually at NYCC. I'm usually at San Diego. I'm usually at WonderCon. We didn't do Emerald City this year, but we were at C2E2 in Chicago. The thing I like to look out for at these shows, because, you know, I'll pick up some like cool exclusives if they're there, but I usually look for artwork. Like really, really, I like artwork. I like things, posters, that kind of stuff that's unique. I found there's this one company that makes these like pixelated arts. It's basically you could take your phone and scan the QR code and like point your camera at it. And if you scan their QR code, it'll reenact the scene from the game that it's in. And I can't remember the name of their brand right now. But those are like really, really great. And like anything 8-bit old school Nintendo stuff always sucks me in like 100%. So I'm a sucker for old video game stuff. So usually if you have that or something cool with Scott Pilgrim, I'll buy that. I'll buy it right away. But yeah, I have to have a game plan. I have to know what I'm spending. Like I have my Funko item set aside. I'm just like, okay, I'll get that. But usually I don't run around crazy like I used to. Like the first Comic-Con was in 2004 at San Diego, and I was like, I had no money, but I spent a ton of it. I don't know where it went. But like, you see Kid Robot for the first time. You're just like, what the heck are these? And all these vinyl toys, and you just want to bring home everything. And then you're just like, how am I getting this home? Oh no, I don't have enough money to ship it home.
I don't have enough money to ship it home, and I didn't bring 17 large duffel bags.
Exactly. That's why it's really cool to get into enamel pins as well, because you can fit a lot of those in a bag. So. Yep.
Absolutely. And since we're on the convention thing, talk about how $7 does conventions when you guys go to conventions.
Well, when I first started, the first one we did was that I was part of was AwesomeCon, and that was in DC. And we haven't done that in a couple years now. But it was just basically we're selling pop shields, and it was very, and a couple pops that we had there. But now when we go, because New York Comic Con 2021 was the first time that we had DMC come in our booth and sign, and he wound up signing for 3 days. And like, that was a huge deal. I'm just like, I said, I was hanging out with DMC all weekend. What did you do? So that was like cool. And, once we did that, then the next show we did was Emerald City. And then we had a couple more signers that year. So we started and we met Bryce Pappenbrook that year. So that was like our first, getting Bryce, we were all nervous about it, just like, oh my God, we're going to have a huge crowd. We just don't want to look like schmucks, doing this,
Right.
We want to be prepared. And now we have it down to, when we did New York last year, we had, 15 different we had a lot of signers, and Elvira was there. We had Kevin Eastman there for a day. We had DMC again. So we had like a lot of people there signing for us. And last year we had David Desmalchin. He was at our WonderCon booth. We had John Glover at our Chicago booth at C2E2. Last year we had Ashley Eckstein. So we've done we're getting bigger celebrities to do these signings, and a lot of voice actors, and it's giving fans an opportunity that they don't have to wait in line for hours, spend their whole convention sitting in a room on the floor waiting 6 hours to get 10 seconds with somebody signing their stuff. They can go up, they can talk to them. You don't have to get a lottery ticket, you just go up. And, it's great. And it's been a great way for us to connect to the fans and give them an opportunity to kind of set us apart as a company. Mm-hmm. Whereas we're not just trying to sell you something. We kind of just want you to, look out for us. It's just every time that they show up somewhere, they bring it. It's, they're not just selling you something. They want you to come back.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. That is so freaking cool.
Yeah, I tell you, it's been eye-opening to see how that part of the business works, and just to see, again, to see the look on people's faces. We had, I like telling the story, but we had Damon Mills at Emerald City last year, and he did the voice of Frieza, and this guy comes walking up the aisle, and he just starts screaming, oh my God. And he's like, I can't ever believe this. Oh my effing God. And he's flipping out and jumping up and down and screaming. He's so excited because Frieza was his favorite character. Mm-hmm. And there's Damon Mills in front of him, just in front of this. And he it was this wonderful moment that we caught on camera too. But it was just great to see it. He just after he's just thank you so much. I can't believe you had him here. The Frieza's he meant everything to me as a character, and you see that connection, and that kind of stuff's cool. You don't get to experience that, and it makes you less jaded, because you could get jaded so easily just collecting just being around it all the time. But these characters mean something to people. The experience means something to people, and he didn't have to buy anything. He just got to meet the guy. And that was it. That would have made his whole trip.
That is so purpose.
Cool. Yeah. And to facilitate that, awesome. I love it. I'm glad I was there for that.
Yeah, that is so cool. Way back, as much as I have a bad 1986 story, I obviously have a good one too. Mm-hmm. My mom took me to, at the time, it was the Boston Budweiser Expo. And think of basically Carl Casper's Custom Auto Show. It was one of those things where you got the Ghostbusters car, you got this, you got that, you got all these things. And remember, this was 1986. I believe Knight Rider was just about to be off the air. Mm-hmm. They had opportunities to sit in the car and to meet David Hasselhoff. And wow, we got to do both, and it's probably lost to the sands of time, and I'm going to tell the story the way I remember it, because I know if the picture is out there somewhere, if any of my family members have it, I hope they have a copy of it, because I need to see it. So, sitting in Kit as a 6-year-old, all as I wanted to, I'm like, hi, Kit. I didn't pay it. I didn't care about having my picture. I was in the car. I'm like, let's go, Super Pursuit mode, whatever. Whatever. The lady that was trying to get me to look at the camera was so pissed because I wouldn't look at the damn I just kept looking at the dashboard. I'm like, does this button work? Does this? Oh, turbo boost. Oh no, I pressed it. Oh crap. Nope, didn't work. Obviously,
you wanted to have fun.
Yeah, exactly. So the picture of it's funny because I recently just found I have the Polaroid that they ended up taking of me. I've had that for years now. But in my mom's or other old things that I've just now recently found in the last couple of years, I found the full photograph that she took of the entire section of where the car was. And giant black Trans Am, all red velvet carpet all around. I'm like, why? And then there's this lady in a white shirt and black pants just pointing at the camera, and you can see the look on her face. And I'm like, sorry, lady. And then the picture I have with him, with David Hasselhoff, is because I have cerebral palsy on my right side. So at the time, as a kid, I had a brace on my arm. He's got his left arm around. It's like I'm in front of him and he's behind me. So he's got his left arm around my left side. He's got his right arm basically holding my right hand with cerebral palsy, and I just absolutely love that picture. The picture he took with my mom that I cannot find, he hero rescued her. If you basically the hero, the damsel in distress, like, you know, he basically held. Oh crap! There goes the sodas.
Oh no!
He basically held her in his arms and took a picture with my mother, and I'm like, oh my god! It was one of the greatest things ever.
How dreamy.
Yeah. And I was only 6 at the time. Never put a Funko Pop on a soda can, folks. Good old Mr. Owl. Mr. Owl Funko Pop is too big for a soda can. That's a boxing insert I'll never get back, of course. Mr. Owl is... Well, when I moved from Washington to Indiana last year, Mr. Owl's box is the only box that didn't survive the trip.
Oh,
and, yeah, sadly, I've been trying to find a boxing insert for him, and at this point, I might as well just buy another one.
Yeah, I think he's still pretty.
Enough. Yeah,
he's still pretty affordable.
Yeah,
Thanks, GameStop. They made that happen.
Wait, was he a GameStop exclusive?
No, he was a Funko Shop exclusive, but then GameStop started carrying him with a GameStop sticker.
Oh, that's what I thought. I figured he was a Funko Shop.
And I was looking at it, and I was like, well, maybe his lollipop is different. And it's like, nope, they're both yellow. It's like, son of a bee. All right.
And that's funny because I'm going to post in a chat group I'm in on Instagram with this. I haven't done it yet, I don't think. The reason why I had the pop sitting on the soda can for, I don't know what. Oh, I haven't opened Crash yet. I know it's a chase, but I haven't opened him yet. He's open. I just haven't. Anyway, I have the soda, the flocked chase soda for Mr. Owl. And I was looking at the pop and looking at the soda. Oh, good. There is a difference. The pop is a yellow lollipop, and the soda is a red one. So
interesting.
And plus, the soda's flocked, so a huge difference between plastic and then furry.
Slightly, yes, slightly.
All right. What do you think it is about our generation that causes our childhood toys to mean so much more to us than, say, for instance, our parents' generation?
I don't know if it's more so. I think that at least most Gen X and Gen Zers and Zennial, whatever you want to call them, the people that were born in the late 70s to the mid 80s, we were the first generation of kids who had advertisements on television targeted directly toward us. Yeah. I've done a lot of research on this, and I find it fascinating. At least our parents' generation, they would get toys and whatnot. And the reason their toys were so valuable, especially in the box, is because everyone took them out of the box. And that goes a lot for us as well. But by the time we were Ninja Turtles had run its course, I guess. So early 90s.
Yeah.
People were started to keep things in boxes because they were looking for their old toys. And then you have a generation in all these toys that are kept in boxes from the late 90s that aren't worth anything because no one cared about them. They had no connection to them. But it's all about that connection. It's all about getting those original Masters of the Universe. It's all about getting the G.I. Joes that are still on the card because, we opened them up and we played them and we destroyed them. But a lot of my childhood memories and the toys that I played and the stuff that I watched, it was all advertisements. I mean, Transformers and G.I. Joe. They were made to sell toys to us. Like the Transformers movie, this. The Transformers movie was made so they could kill the old Transformers so you'd buy new ones. So your parents would buy you new ones. That was what they were made for. And we were that first generation they were legally allowed to advertise directly to children. That's why our Happy Meals were better. That's why all of our toys were so like that. So now if you look at the majority of like the more mid-priced range collectibles, your NECAs, your Super 7s, Mezco even to a certain degree, and Mattels, they're all just repackaging the stuff that we grew up with in like a bigger format. Like the G.I. Joes have more forms of articulation, but they still look like the old G.I. Joes. They try to redo the artwork and everything. It's weird. It's really it's really strange when you sit and think about it. And Funko really tapped into that as well with just getting your nostalgia. They did that from the very beginning. I mean, the entire company was founded because Mike Becker wanted a big boy bobblehead. Mm-hmm. And he founded a company because it was cheaper to do it that way than to buy one.
Yep.
I mean, think about that for a second.
It was cheaper to make it than to buy it.
Yep. Yeah, and nostalgia is probably if it was a drug, it would be the strongest drug out there, because it tricks you into thinking that, nostalgia will trick you, whether it's, memories between other people or just, how things were better. And they weren't. We just didn't know any different. If I had the internet in the 1980s, I probably wouldn't give a good gosh darn about a lot of the stuff that I care about. But because I didn't have it, because, if I liked a movie, I had to go like get magazines at the grocery store or like the bookstore to see what was coming out, or read about your favorite director, or read about whatever movie, or even read about what toys are coming out. Remember Toy Fair magazine? It was great magazine, but you had to read about stuff. There was no there was no Google, there was none of that stuff. And I think that kind of defines it in a way. And I'm interested to see what kids today, like when they get older, what they're going to gravitate towards from their past. Is it going to be Shopkins or Roblox, or what is it going to be that they're going to go back and collect, if anything at all? Does the entire collectible industry die like when our generation gets in their 70s? Like, is that what's going to happen? I'm interested to see what's going to come of that.
Yeah, let's hope not. Let's hope parents out there are raising their children right. And
it's so a lot of the stuff, like I recently tried to go to Record Store Day over the weekend. Mm-hmm. And Record Store Day, it's, they sell records, vinyl. Records. Yeah. The line was 4 blocks long. I would have been in line for 4 hours that I waited. And he's like, yeah, you got to get here at 5 a.m. And I'm just like, for that? I'm like, it's cool. I get it. I would totally get swept up into that if that was my thing. And I've waited longer for, God, I waited in line for a bottle of beer once. So, but I get it. Like, it's what you're into. But physical stuff, physical representations of your things. People are going back to vinyl. People are collecting VHS tapes. It's a weird deep dive into old stuff. And I am very curious to see how it's going to go, but everyone seems to love the past, and having lived through it, I'm just like, well, it's a lot of cool stuff now too. So let's not get too crazy.
Yeah. I mean, vinyl has been making a comeback the last several years and everything else, which is great. Like, it's not a dying form of media as it was a while ago. And the thing is, like, you're saying about how, I wonder what, the kids of today are going to, like, want to sorry, kids, your iPad Air version 2023 in 2075 is not exactly, it's way outdated. You're not getting updates on that thing anymore. Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, look, old iPods, like the original iPods, those are they're collectors for it.
Yeah, no, I know there are. I'm just saying, like, the whole use case of having children play with toys going into the future, and today's kids, most of them play on electronics, not with actual action figures.
Yeah, but hey, look, people are collecting Squishmallows, so what the hell do I know?
That's true too.
It's just a squishier Beanie Baby. Let's face it.
Join Join the Squishmallows squad with Cam, Winston, Fifi, and more. With hundreds to collect. Original Squishmallows are ultra soft, snuggly, and squishy. Did you know every Squishmallows comes with a unique hang tag? This tells you their name, all about their personality, and squish date. With so many styles, colours, and sizes, every Squishmallows collection is unique. And all authentic Squishmallows come with a sewn-in label, so you can look for the logo and know it's legit. Squish, collect, and squad up with original Squishmallows.
Oh my god. Hey, maybe that's what they needed to add so they wouldn't just die off immediately.
They could have been squishy babies. That didn't sound right. Don't say it.
Would you like me to edit that out?
No, leave it.
What is your motivation for purchasing toys to display, play, fiddle? Describe your collecting style. Are you a completionist, storyteller, cherry picker, or otherwise?
I am a cherry picker, but I'm also a storyteller, I guess. As I'm staring at a 27 by 40 poster on my wall of Christian Slater in Cuffs, the 1992 masterpiece, I have very particular likes. And I like to have things that accentuate that. I like NES sprites, so I used to do perler beads. I still do them. So I have like perler projects of different NES characters that are around my bar. I also have, my Funko Pops that are here. I guess when I collect, I like to collect things that are interesting and complement things. I also like collecting furniture. Which you can only have so much room for, but there's like interesting things that I like. I like going to antique stores. It's one of my other joys that I have, and seeing what I can find. Because sometimes you just find like something. It's like a glass or something that's from like the night, like milk glass Pyrex.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's awesome stuff.
That's full of lead. This weekend I'm going to something called Pyrex Fest. It's up in a place called Havre de Grace in Maryland, and it's a huge festival of Pyrex, like old Pyrex from the 60s and 70s, and it's going to be just a huge retro weekend. And I'm already excited. I have like a budget planned out. I'm like, I want to look for these couple things. That kind of stuff I find very interesting. So I can display it, and it's an interesting conversation piece. It's not just a bunch of crap. And I used to have, not to say that it's crap, but I'm just saying it's not just stuff. Because I used to just have stuff. I'm like, oh, look, I have all these wrestling figures on a card in a box that no one can see. Why do I have them? It's not bringing me any joy. I guess I should probably sell these and get stuff that I want to display. And that's just kind of how I do. You have to want to like it. It has to be something that meshes with my personality, something that I like. I'm going to have, if it's a choice between like vinyl figures or pops of Wayne's World versus something else that I don't really care for, Wayne's World's going to win. I'm gonna buy a Wayne's World pop before I buy a Groot, because that's more me. It's something that I would do.
Game on.
That's the ones I have right in front of me too. It's the hockey 2-pack. I'm looking at right now.
Okay, tell me please, because I've been seeing pictures and I have an old picture of the original advertisement that they used for the hockey 2-pack. Mm-hmm. Was the hockey 2-pack a Target exclusive or not?
Yes, it was.
I have been seeing hockey 2-packs from Wayne's World recently where there is no sticker. There's no special edition. There's no Target. And I'm like, I know I'm not hallucinating. I know it was a Target exclusive.
It was a Target exclusive, but when they did it overseas, it may have been a non-stickered one. I have the Rush 3-pack.
Nice.
And I got it at a GameStop. And that was originally a Fan Expo exclusive in Canada. But I had the one at GameStop, which didn't have a sticker. So I almost I have a couple of friends who are Canadian. If I talk to them, I'll just slowly develop their accent. So I'll just be like, it was down at Fan Expo in Toronto.
Toronto, eh?
Toronto. I have friends who are in Ontario. That's how they, go get a pop and some ketchup chips.
Yep. It has been 31 years. Yeah. It's been 31 years since I went over the falls in a barrel.
Yeah. Did you actually go over in a barrel? That seems dangerous.
1992, I was 12 years old. My dad had a great aunt or a great uncle or whatever that lived in St. Catherine. And we went to Skylon. We went to Panasonic because at least those are the tower names that I remember. I don't know what they're called. It's kind of like the Sears Tower will always be the Sears Tower. Willis be damned. I don't know who the hell Willis is other than different strokes, but Willis be damned. It's always going to be the Sears Tower to me. So Skylon and Panasonic towers in whatever, and they had a whole segment in front of the falls where you could go get your picture taken behind a backdrop of you going over the falls in a barrel.
So you didn't actually...
No.
You didn't plunge to your death.
No, I'm still here. I mean, hey, if I can survive brain surgery in 2019, I'm pretty sure from 32 years ago I survived going over the falls in a... Yeah, I always love telling that story because sometimes people think I actually did, and that's the whole point of me telling the story.
Well, I played along because I was just like, that's deadly. I think there was a Three Stooges episode where they did
yes.
I enjoyed my trip to Niagara Falls. That's one of my favorite trips.
Yeah, Niagara's cool.
There's your bonus answer to a question you didn't ask. My two favorite trips were Niagara Falls and the Grand Canyon.
Two places you can fall off of. Great.
Two places you can plunge to your death.
That's right.
But one is more wet.
Yes. At least it will cushion the fall. Sort of, not really. You hit water at that velocity, you ain't cushioning anything. Oh boy. Have you ever purchased a toy for a child with the ulterior motive of playing with it yourself?
I've bought video games for my kids for the purpose of me getting to play it as well. But no, because like no, that's not true because like I think years ago I got one of my kids a remote control car of some kind. And I think we wanted to play with that because I always liked remote control cars.
They're the best.
Do you remember back in the 80s they had the ones that had the claws inside of the wheels?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Were there? I forget what they were called, but they were. Those were probably I still have it. Car with what is it with claws? That's a that's gonna bring up all kinds of different things.
That's a G.I. Joe thing.
Oh,
right there.
I think it was called the claw. Or the animal. It was the animal. But yeah, that was the thing, and the claws would come out of that. So yeah, that's probably the one thing I did, and maybe the first Legos they ever got. But they've moved on to that since then. So now I have to buy their own video game if they want it. So we're getting ready for Zelda, so I have 2 copies reserved. So that's $140. Holy moly. For 2 copies.
Huh. I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at several versions of it. I do not. Like, I had a lot of RC cars as a kid, but I do not remember this one.
You don't remember the animal? It was
giant. I'm looking at a red version of it with yellow claws on the front of the tire.
It would drive, and then if it came toward a rock or something in its place, claws would come out and climb over it.
Yeah, I'm looking at that now.
But the commercials always made it seem a lot cooler. Like there was a commercial for something called what the heck was it? It was like a game where you were like shooting like metal balls at each other.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't remember the name of that. My goodness, this is a terrible. I'm like tired, so like I keep losing. No, it's not your fault. I just didn't sleep well last night. But it'll come to me. It'll come to me in the middle of another thing. So we could just we'll move ahead.
Oh boy. Have you ever purchased a vintage toy for a child because you thought it would be fun based on your own preferences?
Yes, and they didn't care about it.
Great.
Yeah, I was just like, it was usually board games. And I was just like, let's play this. And they just didn't give a rat's butt about that at all. They didn't care. They didn't care about it at all. Oh, by the way, I remember the name of it. It's called Crossfire. Oh. And like, yeah, it made the game look a lot cooler because they were like Crossfire. Like it was.
I remember that ad now.
Game was not as fun.
No. As soon as you went into super rock voice mode, I'm like, yep, I remember that advertisement now. Didn't even buy the damn game because nope.
Yeah, it's really weird with kids nowadays, at least with my kids. Like growing up, I was really into movies. I was really into like all kinds of stuff. My kids couldn't give two craps about movies. They don't care. So like I'm just like, hey, you want to watch this movie with me? Like you want to watch this movie that I know is good. Mm-hmm. They won't watch it. I got them to watch the Jurassic Park movies only because we had to watch those awful new ones. But I got my son liked Jumanji, but like they just don't. I don't know. They have a different relationship with music and movies and all kinds of stuff. So anytime I would buy them something that I remembered liking as a kid, even if it was a toy form, they just really didn't, for the most part, care.
Yeah. Except
if it was like a power boat, like you put in the pool, like they like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, you mentioned Jumanji and that book. I grew up on the book, and then you have the man, the myth, the legend show up as Alan Parrish in 1995. And I know there is, because I have the regular one where it's just him. I don't have the chase with him and the knife. Mm-hmm. But it's the Alan Parrish pop, and I'm just thinking, Funko, 2025 isn't that far away. We could do a 30th anniversary movie moment where, and this would be amazing to me. 30th anniversary movie moment. They're in the car. Mm-hmm. They're at the crossing. They're at the traffic light with and the animals come by, but the only animal that's in it is the baby rhino that's struggling to get.
Yes, that would be great.
Would be an amazing movie moment. Come on, Funko, do your job. Man. Do your job. That's right. Do you do any toy modifications or customs, painting, building dioramas, that kind of stuff?
No, because I'm not good at it. I tried before. They used to have custom contests at Funko Fun Days. Mm-hmm. I entered 2 of them by making a diorama and trying to paint them, but I don't have. That's not in my skill wheelhouse. Okay. I built a bowling sign, and it was okay. It was just okay. And then I did a tiki one, and it was just okay. It wasn't, because you get blown away by people with like really incredible talent. And you feel like you've made a piece of dung in comparison. Someone's like, oh, that's neat. Here, I baked this and I did this and that. And I'm like, wow, I just used spray paint and some tape. And yours is better than mine.
Oh boy.
But I bet they couldn't edit down the pick up the pieces to 30 seconds like I could, though. So
there you go.
I got them there.
Yep, we all have varying skills and everything else. Do you think toy companies should specifically have adult collector toys, child toys, or find a way to mix both?
I think if you're going to be successful as a toy company, you need to appeal to all audiences. I think that's, again, where Funko kind of found its niche. But I think that, the toys that are intended for like kids are too babyish almost, and they're meant to be like thrown around and destroyed instead of. I mean, they had those when we were younger, like 'cause there was like the Fisher Price phone and like stuff like that.
Yeah,
but now like it just seems like the toys that are made for like kids that are under 6 are like really babyish looking and look like they could break in 2 seconds. Yeah. And then they get into the adult toys and then they're just like not as good either. But I think there could be a nice middle range where you could have like G.I. Joes, for example. They were good for me when I was like 6 and 7 and 8 and 9 and 43. Yeah, they're perfect for that kind of thing. But yeah, I think you need to have both. I think you need to have you need an adult collector mindset, and you could see some of like, like your what NECA does, what Mezco does, Super 7, Funko. They have stuff that's geared toward more expensive adult stuff, and then you have like, the regular stuff it's accessible to anybody. So I think you can find both.
Yeah. Like parents today, if you want your child to have a false hope of growing up to be a superstar basketball player, go buy every Funko Gold figure, but leave my Pops and Sodas alone.
I don't think anyone's buying those.
No, that's the point.
I gotcha.
Point. Like I told this story on the show. I don't know. I repeat myself a lot, and it's just the way I am. But I was in Walmart a couple of years ago, and most Walmarts, unless they have attentive people in the electronics department, most of them don't care.
No.
Or they don't pay attention to it, or they don't know what they have in stock, or they don't know what's in the back, if there's anything in the back. And I was walking up to the Funko Pop section. I saw a mother, father, and 2 children that were brother and sister. The kids were probably somewhere between 7 and 8.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, I'm going to walk away for a little while and let them, look over the Pops or whatever else. I come back like 10 minutes later, and they're still there. And I'm just kind of like standing off to the back and to the left, to the side of them, so I'm not infringing on their space. And I'm just mumbling to myself, get away from my Funko Pops. Get away from my Funko. They're mine. Go away. And I probably didn't even buy anything that day. I just wanted to be able to see what they had. And of course, it's Walmart. They barely have anything half the time, but it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hard question. Do you feel you are coming to an end of your active collecting? If so, what has signified this phase for you? Was there ever a moment when you were done with toys altogether, and have you ever considered stopping as a collector or even selling the whole collection?
I've had fantasies about selling it all, but I would miss some things too much about it. And every time I'll go through everything once a year and like remove things that don't spark joy, as that saying was. Just like stuff I'm just like, I'm not that attached. That's why I got rid of all of the
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones stuff, all the Disney, all the Marvel. I was just like, it's not most of my Star Wars. I'm just like, it's not, I don't care about all this stuff. Like, it's not part of me. Like, if I show it off, I'm just like, oh, here's the stuff that I spent months complaining about. Whatever. I don't need Rey Skywalker anymore. I'm fine. I'm good with just like one physical representation. I don't need 20 Reys. I don't need 80 Groots. Just one. I'll have one Star-Lord, one Groot. No, I mean, I'm probably never going to stop. If anything, I'll just have a couple things here and there, pieces that mean something to me, pieces that were handed to me, like gifted to me from Funko themselves. Like I have a 1-of-1 color reject Boba Fett holiday wobbler that was actually, the reject was signed on the bottom by someone at LucasArts.
Oh,
it was like a reject. So cool. It's a 1-of-1. And it was one of those things where Brian was doing something. He's just like, I have this 1-of-1 color reject Boba Fett holiday, and Jason, this is for you. I was like, oh, really? I'm like, holy wow, this is awesome. Thank you. So there's stuff like that I'll just keep with me. And then once I depart this mortal coil, that'll be someone else's problem. I don't care. or I'll wind up just giving it to somebody, because I've done that too. I've given away things that were way valuable, just giving them away because I know someone wanted it more than I did. So it's like, I've gotten enough. I've gotten a lot of good stuff just, by chance. So I'll put it back out there. I'll put the karma back out there. And that's the whole point of collecting, in my opinion, is helping others. And eventually that'll come back to help you too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I don't even need one Rey figure, let alone a billion of them. My personal opinion, Finn got screwed.
I don't need any more fins. I had like one fin.
Okay, but
I had the one with the bloody head. That's a good one.
Wow. That's crazy. What is something that does not have a toy of it you'd love to have in toy form?
Spaceballs, but And doesn't matter what kind either. Spaceballs. I'd buy any Spaceballs stuff in a second.
They had all the merchandising. How do they not have any toys?
He made a deal with George Lucas.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
In order to get the to use like the models that they did and the way they shot it. He agreed to never do any merchandise, like a handshake agreement, and he wants to stick to it. Yeah. So I imagine, Mel Brooks is 96.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's 96. Gonna be 97 this year. He's actually going to be, I think his birthday's tomorrow, actually. So he'll be 97 tomorrow.
It'll be a few months from now, but it'll be May. But by the time so April 26th?
Yeah, I believe that's his birthday. So he'll be 97. And, he's still kicking. And I really wish that, there would be, because Spaceballs pops, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
And of course, there's, Three Stooges, if they made Funko stuff of them or more stuff of the Three Stooges. Those are and Dick Tracy, those are the things that Funko needs to make. But I think in general, Spaceballs or more John Candy stuff in general. I'll take any John Candy stuff all day.
So I don't know how we were. I don't want to have to print a retraction on this. So I just put in Mel Brooks into Google.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. We're wrong, folks. June 28th, 1926.
June 28th.
He is still 96 years old.
Unless this gets really delayed.
Yeah, no, this is coming out May 10th, May 17th, something like that. Yeah, we're a month out from his 90 whatever birthday.
Well, I was close. It was 20-something. It's just the wrong month.
Yeah. Oh, man. And... you'd think that handshake deal would go out the window now that Lucas has no rights anymore.
Right, but he's Mel Brooks is old school.
I completely understand that, and that's fine. I'm just saying, in order to make your dream come true, that handshake gonna have to go out the window.
But I tell you, there was a custom artist who did a barf, a custom, did 10 of them.
Wow, that's so cool.
Barf! And I was I'm really interested in this, but they were I think $1,500 each.
Ooh.
Yeah, and that's, I have an appetite for things, but I'm not.
You ain't that hungry.
I'm just a local celebrity. I'm not that kind of. I don't have the money for that.
Yeah. You're hungry, but you're not lobster thermidor hungry.
Right. I'm okay. That's cool and all, but good luck to the 10 people who got them. That's all.
Exactly.
It was really great. I mean, the detail and the articulation on it was amazing. So those are cool.
Very cool, very cool. What is a toy you'd love to have scaled up and functional for the real world?
We just talked about. I would love the kit. I think that would be freaking awesome. I would like Kit, and I would probably like Megatron in gun form. If I was into guns and stuff like that, I would probably get a custom Megatron gun or a Zapper Den. I think those would be super cool. But I don't want him to transform into a giant evil robot to destroy.
Yeah, that would not be good.
But I think that would be really cool. And then, of course, the Dreadnoks thing we talked about. I would drive around in that as my regular car.
Easiest way to go four-wheeling and off-roading.
That's right. And then be able to hunt down stuff in front of you with the gun turrets in there.
Oh, boy. Wow. All right. Well, who knew there was a dark side, folks?
There is. Yeah. I want the Thunder. Who's that? Oh, that's Jason. He's just driving his Thunder Machine to work again.
Mm-hmm.
Now get out there. Hey, what's going on?
Wow. How have your spouses, significant others, mates, partners, etc., dealt with your collection?
How have they?
Yes.
Well, it's sometimes a point of contention, but once the value of Funko Pops went up to a certain amount, it softened a lot. But I've basically been collecting Funko since I've met my wife. We'll be together 22 years this year in June. and I had my first Funko piece by the time we had already met. So she's been around with it. She was there on the very first trip out to Vegas in 2003. So she's been around it long enough. She knows that's just how it is. So she's very supportive.
Very cool.
We're getting ready to do Fanatics Day out in a couple weeks here. And, she's like, do you need me to help with anything? We have something else to do that day, but I'm just like, no, I'll be fine. Thank you. But she'll help me out. She's always very supportive. They're all very supportive of me.
Very cool. Very cool. So your anniversary is coming up in June.
That's when we first went on a date.
Well, happy pre-anniversary. And here's hoping it's not June 28th.
It is not. And it's not April either. So as we learned. But yeah, we're it's very, thank you very much. 22 years, and October we'll be married for 17 years. So
wow, very cool. Well, happy anniversary. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, again, folks, I know it's back to the repetition, but he's never heard this story before. So when I met my late wife, because sadly Karen passed away 2 years ago.
I'm very sorry to hear that.
Thank you. When, at the time in 2017, it's 2017, how do people meet at all anymore? It's not in a bar. They meet online. So we met on whatever. We ended up meeting in person, and we ended up, between the time we started talking online, August 6th of 2017, to the time we met in person, September 8th of 2017, we had talked like thousands of hours. Like I remember the first weekend, the only time we were not on the phone with each other is if we were in the bathroom or taking a shower or asleep. Like, we were on the phone with each other for, I want to say, maybe 52 of the 72 hours. And we were just talking about anything and everything and all this and all that. And, when we met in person, one of the things we bonded over was real estate. Mm-hmm. I've been watching HGTV since I don't know when, whatever else, and I'm not a real estate person at all, but I like just looking at the homes and whatever else. So, and she did too, and we went on this house tour in Louisville, Kentucky at the time. She was living in Chicago, I was in Louisville, and I was like, well, if your company wants to transfer you here, blah, blah, blah. And then we go see this house, and we see it was a split level home. So upstairs, all the stuff, basement, all the stuff, finished basement with also a separate side that was unfinished. That was all the utility and whatever else. So we found a place for her in the house. I'm like, ooh, I can do all the podcasting stuff down here in the basement. As we go to go back upstairs to leave, I just turned to her in front of the fireplace and I said, well, I know what I'm doing for the next 50 years of my life. She looks at me and says, what? I said, well, we've talked so much. We've covered every minutia of our lives at the time. She was 76, 80. She's 4 years older than me. She was. And I'm like, do you want to spend your life with anyone else? Because I don't. She's like, oh, okay. So the joke always was with us was, oh, well, we're going to spend the next 50 years of our lives together. Sadly, her liver and kidney failed in 2021, and she passed. So we got 4.5 years.
But I bet those were the best 4.5 years you could think of.
They're the only 4.5 years that currently matter to me at this point. Like, I love everything else I've done in my lifetime for the most part, except for some of the bad stuff that has happened to me. Mm-hmm. And that's a whole other podcast. But, I'm still in the whole mindset of, and I can, it's 2 years since she passed at this point, this coming November, but I can kind of joke about it now, where it's like when she passed, I'm like, crap, you owe me 46 years at the time in 2021. But it is what it is.
Well, thank you for sharing that with me. That's it's a really nice. I mean, it's unfortunate, it's sad, but at the same time, you realize what you have. So that's
it was
good.
Just one of those things where I said, look, when we first started talking on the dating website we were on, I said, look, let's put it all out there. Cards on the table. What do you want? What do I want? Is it something we can, do you have feelings for, it kind of was and it kind of wasn't the old, 80s and 90s thing. If you like me, check here. Yes, or, all that crazy retro stuff back then. But we went into it knowing what we were like. We got married 4 months after we met. Mm-hmm. We were that, together. We were that whatever. And yeah, there's a 90-10 or a 70-30 or whatever. There's always give and take in a relationship. There always will be. You're never, ever going to always be 50-50. But at least we were always getting through it together. That was the point. No matter what we ended up facing, So, all right. Emotional time with TFG and Mike is now over, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to questions. We're almost done, I promise. This process should not be this painless or painful or whatever. I don't know.
No, it's been painless.
Very cool, very cool. Toy collecting can have its struggles. What is one aspect you tend to struggle with the most?
FOMO.
Really?
I do. I get that itch on occasion where I'm just like, if I don't have this now, I'm gonna explode. I'm gonna explode everywhere.
Uh-oh.
Ay, caramba! You exploded them!
Oh, Clarky. Well, I can explain why they exploded.
Yeah, it'll still catch me on occasion, but I've got the mindset. It's usually for stuff if I'm there for it. So, like, if it's like a con exclusive or something, and I just happen to be in the vicinity, and I can't get it, and I'm just like, ugh. But I've gotten to the point where I've trained myself to just be like, it's okay. At least when it comes to Funko, I'm just like, it's all right. It'll show up in a collection soon if I don't get it. If something happens to sell out, it'll show up in the warehouse in about 3 to 4 months. Like, I know it's on its way. But there are like other things. If I miss out on something and I get really, I'll hunt it down. And it all goes back to when I was a kid and it was the second Storm Shadow came out when he was a G.I. Joe.
Yep.
And he had like the camouflage gi and everything. That I hunted for like 6 months or more. And like I'm calling Toys R Us like every week and just like bothering everybody. But I finally got it. I finally tracked one down. And that was a good feeling. And unfortunately I chase after that sometimes.
Very cool.
If I get it in my head, I'm just like, oh wait, this thing went out of print. Like if it's a DVD or Blu-ray, like, oh, this went out of print. Oh no, I gotta find it now. Oh, I didn't know this existed till just now. I gotta get it.
Yep.
But I won't give up. But I will sometimes I get a little obsessed about finding stuff until I finally get it, and then I'm just like, all right, what's next?
Yeah.
What's the next thing I can acquire?
Yeah, absolutely. What is one positive and or one negative memory you have with buying toys?
Well, the positive is the one I just told you about, Storm Shadow. Hunting, the thrill of the hunt, and then finally catching it. The negative side of it, I think that has to go with wasted money over stuff that I no longer collect. For example, chasing after chases for McFarlane Sports Picks.
Wow.
For example, like I got good negotiating skills out of it, and like sort of I knew when to hunt for things, but after a while I started seeing the same people and I didn't like them. who were just trying to hunt after all the chase pieces and flip them, and I just wanted them to collect them, and then they wound up all not really being worth much in the end. So it was like, that was a bunch of wasted time and money. I could have done other things, but
Absolutely, absolutely. If you could create any toy, what would you want to create? Basically, Funko gives you the keys to the kingdom, no budget is too high, etc., etc. What are you going to make?
Oh my God. Well, sometimes they use my ideas, so I got to be careful on what I would say.
He wants an Alf Pop. Alf. ALF. Alien Life Form.
I tell you, I'll tell you one better. So I had the running thing has been that I take responsibility for 8-bit pops. Years ago at Toy Fair, They had, I forget what they got the license. I was waiting for them to come out with the NES colored Jason and Freddy, like from the video game in the pop form. And I'm just like, are you missing out? I said, you could do all the Foot Soldiers and Ninja Turtles. You could do all this stuff. And Brian goes, can you email that to me? So I emailed him the list. And then at New York Comic Con that year was the introduction of the 8-bit pops of all the Ninja Turtles in the arcade colors and everything. And I was like, I did it. I made 8-bit pops. And then no one liked them, and I was upset. But I like to tell everyone, I'm like, that was my deal. I don't know if I had my own toy company, I would make a lot of like just really. I like a lot of the old like Rat Fink type of stuff like that. I forget what you would call that sort of artwork, but like the demon looking stuff, wrenches, like a lot of the old spastic plastics look like that, and a lot of the Ed Roth, it's just like cool retro stuff that piques my interest, and that I like stuff from the 60s and everything, like that cool era of stuff. That's what I would gear toward. Yeah, I think that's what I would, I would have my own like line of that. I would do more like Ed Roth stuff. I can't remember what you would call it exactly, but it would be just cool. I think it would be cool looking. I like that.
Very cool. Very cool. What is the one piece of advice you would give the toy collecting fandom in general?
And have fun. Enjoy what you collect. I know I just said I struggle with FOMO on occasion, but I would say have patience, because like some of my favorite pieces that I have, it took, one of them took 12 years, another one took 18. There's some that are going to be like a 20-year search to get, but then you'll eventually get it all. You just got to be patient, but you got to enjoy it. I see so many people that, and like there's some things that come out that, if Funko does something and I'm just like, it's not my favorite, but whatever. I would like them to occasionally release more stuff that I get really, really excited over. But some people just complain about everything. Oh, that's lazy. That's a lazy mold. Oh, that looks stupid. That's terrible. And it's like, do you collect this stuff or do you just complain? Oh, they made too many. Oh, they didn't make enough. Why is it so, all the flipper, it's like, just enjoy what you collect and be happy. Just be happy with it. That's my advice. And take your time. You'll get there.
Yep. A friend of mine who does YouTube, Slapshot Pops.
I know him.
Yeah, John and Joanna. Love those two. Mm-hmm. He has a T-shirt. Bro, do you even collect? It's a black T-shirt with white text. And so for those that don't know Slapshot Pops, they just, because this is coming out after they did this, they just did their May the 4th and Revenge of the 5th charity auctions and all that stuff. And I took that image and I took another images that I've taken of other stuff, but I took that screen cap of him in that shirt. I took an image of the pucks, because if you subscribe to their Patreon at the $10 level, you get a foam puck every month that is from them with their logo, or they do various versions of their pucks. I took a picture of all the pucks I have. I took 2 pictures of those, and then I took a picture of myself. So it's in a 4-square collage. It's him on the top left, Puck on the top right, Puck on the bottom left, and then me on the bottom right, where I actually had to type this in through text. It's not on my shirt. I'm like, of course I collect, because it's him asking the question, me showing all the pucks, and then it's me saying, of course I collect. So yeah, love them.
Yeah, that's I like that saying though. I think I might steal that for myself.
Sorry, John.
I'm just gonna start telling people that. Do you even collect, bro?
Yeah, exactly. All right, folks, that's going to do it for us. We're going to go to one final ad break. You're going to hear some stuff and other things and all that good stuff. And we're actually going to come back. We're going to talk about Jason and $7bucksapop.com. And then we'll close the show out right after this.
Last big party of the summer, folks. Let's go out with a bang.
Hey everybody, it's Jason with $7 a pop in Mystery Grail. In case you didn't know, $7 a pop is your number one stop for buying Funko Pops online. In addition to the thousands of Funko Pops that you can purchase right now, we have our popular Pop Shields and Pop Shield Armors, plus our Signature Series collection featuring authenticated signatures on Funko Pops. And join us on MysteryGrail.com for your weekly Funko Mystery Box. We have our Sunday drops every week at 3 p.m. Eastern and our themed Thursday drops every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern. What a time to be a Mystery Grailer. Check us out on 7bucksapop.com and MysteryGrail.com. Plus on social media on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
That's 7bucksapop.com.
Hey, that was fun!
Hello, geeks and geekettes! Looking for a podcast that covers a vast array of topics? Then check out Altered Geek Unleashed, where we discuss our thoughts on this week's geeky news, tech, gaming, television shows, movies, cartoons, comics, and more. So, get altered, get geeky with the Altered Geeks. Every Friday on the Geekcast Radio Network.
Because the world needs another movie podcast.
The Geekcast Radio Network presents for your listening pleasure the Cinema Geek.
Hosted by Amanda, Kevin, Matt, and Dan.
Each week we dive headfirst in the landscape of movies as we discuss movie news, play movie games,
go in-depth on reviews,
and even have a top 10 countdown or two.
Also, don't miss our director retrospective series, where we review noted directors' movies film by film. Bottom line is, if you love movies and love podcasts, you need to experience the Cinema Geeks.
You can find us on iTunes, Blog Talk Radio, or GeekCastRadio.com.
Like science fiction? Of course you do, or you wouldn't be listening to the Geekcast Radio Network. Well, the Mark Who 42's Universe podcast is an award-winning sci-fi radio show that's been around for over 10 years. We cover everything from Doctor Who to the MCU to pop culture and everything in between. A new show drops on Tuesday mornings on the GCRN website and all of the major podcast platforms. So listen to the Mark Who 42's Universe podcast from the universe and beyond.
Hi, I'm Dan, and I'm the host of the Rock Nerd Radio Show, which airs live on HudsonRiverRadio.com every Wednesday evening at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It also gets backed up as a podcast, which you can find on your preferred podcasting platform. Every week on my show, I talk about all kinds of pop culture. I talk about music, I talk about movies, TV, comics, collectibles, and so much more. I also feature a guest on my show periodically, which you might enjoy. I have a couple of special segments on my show, one called The Cover Song of the Week and My Favorite Thing in the World This Week. If you think this sounds cool, check it out sometime. I hope you do.
Hey, it's Wes from Poppin' Off Toys. Wanted to let you know about poppinofftoys.com. We can be your number one source for Funko collectible figures to add to your ever-growing collection. If you're in Nashville, Tennessee, we actually have a retail store that you can come by, 5916 Charlotte Pike. And for the rest of us, poppinofftoys.com is always open, and you can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and even TikTok. And the name is just simply Poppin' Off Toys. Thank you so much, and always keep it poppin'.
On the Simplistic Reviews podcast, we talk movies. We talk TV. We talk.
Hello, Julie, what the heck are you doing?
Trying to make our spots sound more exciting by adding explosions.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you could have got the point across with sound effects, not the real thing. Car.
Download the show on iTunes or at simplisticreviews.blogspot.com.
I'm sure your insurance company will cover that.
No, they won't.
No, they probably won't.
One of the primary themes of ToyCast is that we focus on throwing it back to the past. We are who we are today because of the nostalgic memories and experiences from our childhood. Obviously, we wouldn't be doing this show if it weren't for the toys that made us so addicted to nostalgia. Throwback Toys Chicago is your primary go-to collectible store to reclaim the toys that drove those memories and experiences. Specializing in action figures from all of your favorite toy lines like Star Wars, G.I. Joe, He-Man, Transformers, Silverhawks, Ghostbusters, TMNT Mask, and more. Get your dose of nostalgia with a shop run by collectors for collectors. Whether you are looking for a loose G.I. Joe ice cream soldier, a packaged Leonardo, recent Star Wars Black Series figures, or an AFA graded Boba Fett, Throwback Toys Chicago is all about throwing you back into your geeky obsession with toys. Visit the shop at 1450 North Ashland Avenue in Chicago, Illinois, just 2 blocks south of Ashland and North Ave. Call the shop at 847-830-1031 or email them at tbtchicago@gmail.com. Visit them and give Throwback Toys Chicago a chance to throw you back to your childhood.
Hello, all sentient beings. Want the latest on everything going on in the Transformers multiverse? Check out the Transmissions Podcast Network. We've got weekly podcasts covering everything from Alpha Trion to Omega Supreme, from old school G1 all the way up to Cyberverse and beyond. And you don't want to miss Empire of Rust, the world's first and only Transformers live play role-playing game podcast. If you love Transformers, there's something for everyone at transmissionspodcast.com.
Discover a world of vintage and modern toys that's more than meets the eye with the Triple Takeover Toycast.
Hosted by toy writers and photographers Toybox Soapbox, 6O, and TF Square 1, this informal and chilled-out series of discussions cover everything from vintage Transformers to Mask, Diaclone, Microman, and more, be it nostalgic or current.
Whether you're a seasoned collector or a casual robot enthusiast, all are welcome.
Triple Takeover Toycast.
All right, we are back, and it is time to have Jason promote himself and promote all the stuff he does. I have to say, because $7bucksapop.com, so initially when I started buying pops of 6 years ago, I sadly was not putting them in protectors. I know that is, oh my God, it's so horrible. But as soon as I started having to dust the top of the boxes, I'm like, okay, I need protectors. I know I didn't dust the protectors, but recently I've only made one order so far, but I plan on making more because at some point I want to transition out of all of the Pop Shield soft protectors into the armors, because the armors are the best, magnetic lid and all that good stuff. But I have a single, like I said, I have Grimlock, Convention Grimlock here with the soft shield protector. How did you guys, like, these are like super premium. How did you guys come up with the soft shields?
So that was all Lee's doing. Lee Byers, who owns and owns $7 a pop in Mystery Grail. He just, again, it was one of those things, he saw a need for it in the market, and it's, I mean, we're one of the top suppliers of pop shields, and once we did armors, and you get that for our price point, you're not going to find a better protection for your high-end grails or for, you know, your lower-end grail. It doesn't matter. Anything can go in there, and they're, you know, it's a good quality product. And when we take them to shows, and it's one of those things where you're just like, well, I'm not going to spend $15 for something to put this in. But then you like go, no, here, you put it in their hands, and I'm like, do the magnetic click on the lid, and they're just like, huh. No, that's great. Yeah, I'll take two. It's just one of those things. Like, once you actually see it, there's just no question. It's one of the cooler ones. But yeah, I mean, we've been doing that. That's a huge part of our business, and of course, the buying and selling of Funko Pop collections, giving them another life in someone else's collection. It's one of the things that we do, and we're one of the top buyers and sellers of collections, and a lot of those also go into Mystery Grail. MrGrail.com. We do boxes twice a week. We have a couple big ones coming up for Star Wars Day, which may or may not have been passed by the time this comes out, but we have a
okay, since I know, and I've said multiple times in the last 2 hours, I've said this episode is coming out past Star Wars Day. Okay. Normally I don't do this. Normally when I do this, they'll say, like, if I interview a voice actor, perfect story. Again, people listening to the sound of my voice, fast forward a few minutes, you've heard this before. in 2010 or 2011, I think it was 2011, whenever Arkham City was about to come out.
I can only beg your forgiveness.
So back in 2011, when Arkham City was coming out, was the first time and the only time, sadly, I wish we could get him back, we got Maurice LaMarche for an interview. And this is over on our Toon podcast called Tooncast. And one of the questions we ask all voice actors is, what type of voice acting is your favorite type? They're very, there's anime dubbing, there's actual, voiceover animation like Transformers, G.I. Joe, whatever. And then there's video games, there's commercials, there's narration, whatever. He said, the funny thing about video games is it's just you in a room for X number of hours, screaming lines, blah, 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 without any. Didn't ask him a follow-up yet. Didn't do anything. He blurted out, I just got out of a session for Batman Arkham City. And I'm like, okay. And he goes, yeah, I played Mr. Freeze. And I'm like, okay. Can you give us a sample of the voice? He said, I'm pretty sure I've already said too much, and no, I can't do a sample of the voice. So we actually broke the news. Nobody knew at that point because everybody knew Kevin Conroy was coming back. May the man rest in peace at this point. But everybody knew Kevin was coming back as Batman. Nobody knew who was going to do Freeze. We broke the news. Some unknown site picked it up. IGN picked us up. And then once IGN picks you up, there's no stopping that train. I spent all day, and I even asked him, and I ask people at the end of every episode I record now to this day because of this. We asked him at the end of that interview, is there anything you would like us to edit out or not have in the final product? He said, no, I'm pretty good. I edited that episode so fast, got it online. My mom and I at the time went out grocery shopping. We're in the middle of Kroger, and my buddy Steve Megatron, who is the co-creator of the Geekcast Radio Network with me, starts messaging me and saying, what did you do? Why are we getting blown up? What is going on with Batman Arkham City, Mr. Freeze, Maurice Sloan? What is going on? I'm like, oh, I'm out grocery shopping. I don't know. I put the interview online. I don't know what do you want me to tell you? I don't know. They picked up the news. It went viral. So and keep in mind, back in 2011, I wasn't super into the smart. Like, I had just gotten out of the iPhone market because I am not. It's too much of an ecosystem for me. It just is. So I'm trying to message people, and I'm trying to message his management, and I'm trying to message him, and I'm like, oh my God, do you want me to edit this? Do you want me to take this out? Oh my God. And he eventually, 7 hours later, replied to me on Facebook saying, well, it's already out there. Nothing we can do about it now. Ever since then, I ask at the end of every episode, is there anything you've said in the last X number of times you want me to? And I even what I will do is when I get this edited, before I even publish it, I will send you a copy and say, listen to this. If there's anything you want me to remove, give me timestamps and I will remove it. Just in case, because, oh my God.
Well, no. Then it won't matter because at this point,
exactly.
If this comes out,
finally, it's after, and it doesn't matter, and you can tell us all the stuff that $7 a pop had.
Right? You're gonna be like, wow, this mystery girl that came out that had a Hall H Ahsoka is the top hit. That's amazing. But yeah, we have a Hall H Ahsoka that's going to be in the top hit for Star Wars Day. So
nice.
Yeah. And it's a real one. I know where it came from. So
yeah, sometimes people sadly like to do stupid things and try to fake them.
No, that's another thing. It's like a lot of what we do. A lot of our customers can trust us that we're.
Oh no, absolutely. I'm not saying
no. But I'm just saying you could trust us that we're sourcing it out. We have a bunch of eyes on it, and especially with a piece like that, which has so many eyes on it. I mean, we've had 3 of them in our possession now, and it's. Wow. Yeah, and I know where they came from, and I'm sworn to silence. So
no,
but they're all legit, and it's really cool, and we're really excited to see how at this point, how it's going to show up, and like how the reaction's going to be for it, because we're going to make a really big deal out of it. So that's the good thing with our mystery grail. So. And you'll be able to catch us this summer if you want to come say hi to me. Come say hi to us at San Diego Comic-Con and New York Comic-Con. And those are definitely going to be out after this airs. So.
Well, yes, obviously. No, we don't want to spoil San Diego Mystery Grail secrets. No,
but yeah, so if anyone wants to find us online, it's $7bucksapop.com. It's mysterygrail.com. We have all kinds of great stuff. We're on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. That's the other one, Facebook. But you could find us on there and come say hi to us online. I put out videos almost every single week for our new signature series that comes out, and we get authenticated signatures. This week we have Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, which,
nice.
He passed. We just had a Chris Evans one last week, and there were some people who were complaining about the price, saying it was too expensive, but then it sold out in 70 seconds. So,
okay, so since you're here, and if I'm overstepping again, I will edit out whatever. What went into the Chris Evans drop, and why was it that price?
Because there is a lot of times, there's no secret. There's bulk pricing for some people.
Mm-hmm.
There was no bulk pricing, so we had to source out all the pops, and since there's some top hits in there that are a little bit more expensive, you have to account for those. But it took a lot to organize that signing when we were in Chicago, especially for getting as many pieces as we got done. So, it just went into that. And what we try to do is we try to price it in such a way that it's close to what market value would be. Okay. Because if we went out there and we sold them for, let's just say, I don't know, $300 each, right? So if they're $300, everybody is going to scalp them and then flip them for a much higher rate. Mm-hmm. So we can't do that. Plus, we don't make any money off of it, and the business has to make some money off of it. That's just That's kind of how businesses work.
That's how business,
yeah. But it's not like we were charging like $600 for it. We charged what we thought was reasonable for who he was.
Yeah.
You could see it sold out in 70 seconds, but that's a lot of our pricing goes into it like that. It's, we factor in what it takes to get it prepped, what it takes, the actual cost of the actual signing event, and the time that's spent going into it. It's not like we went to Chicago and just waited in line for 6 hours. Mm-hmm. And just like, hi, Chris Evans, here's 200 items or something.
Well, yeah, obviously you have to go through his management or him or his whatever, and it's a whole, I don't want to say brand deal because he's a person, not a brand, but it's one of those celebrity deals that you have to make the deal, and that's just the way business works and whatever else. Yeah, I looked at that and I was like, oh, that would be so cool, but it's so far out of my price range, and I'm okay.
Yeah, and look, we did Johnny Depp, and the last Johnny Depp we did was almost $500 because his price went up. And every time we put it out there, it would sell. So we could have, and we want to give our customers an opportunity to get something that's within reach. And if you think about it, you went to Chicago, let's just say you paid $250 for his autograph, right? For that time slot at C2E2. You paid that money there. You have to get to Chicago. You have to wait in line. You have to get a con ticket. You have to get lodging more than likely. And you have to spend your entire day there. That is you spent $250 for the autograph, but you spent a lot more to get there and to wait there. And that's how I look at it. And I didn't look, there's a lot of things. I would love a Harrison Ford autograph. I wasn't going to spend $1,200 on it. That's just me personally. But if someone else got it and was just like, I'm selling this $1,200 autograph for $1,700, I wouldn't sit there and just go, whoa, what are you doing, guy? If someone put that, it's just how it is. And, I think honestly, because I thought we were going to charge more for it, I think $395 was a very reasonable price for an A-list superstar.
Absolutely.
He A-list who doesn't need to sign.
Yeah. So what was it like hanging out with America's ass?
I didn't get to meet him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You did all this stuff, and you didn't even get to meet the guy?
Didn't get to meet him, but I did get to hang out with John Glover, who was the voice of the Riddler for a few episodes on Batman, and a fellow Maryland native, and that was a lot of fun. It was great. We had a mini Naruto reunion too at our booth. They all the voice actors were there, and they posed for pictures in front of our booth, and but it was cool. I have a cool job. I never thought I would have a cool job, but here I am. I have a cool job, and it's like, what's your job? It's like, well, I'm me most of the time. I go to a convention, and like they have like the list of everyone's responsibilities, and under mine it's Jason. Responsibilities, Jason. So you get to do your thing that you have to do. I'm like, perfect. I love that. I'm gonna go eat a hot dog.
That is so cool.
Yeah,
so
but
cool.
it's a crazy journey, and I'm grateful that a weird bobblehead purchase at a Spencer's on a lunch break at the mall began all of this stuff. It's got me to where I am here, and I can count on. I count my blessings. That's all. It's great. I could Mike Becker is a friend of mine. Like, it's like a legitimate friend. I could call him up and just like, hey man, how you doing? Like that stuff like that. I don't know. It's crazy. It's just crazy.
That's awesome though. That is so cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, since we talked about Chris Evans, I'm like, okay, Funko, I know this is going to be probably just me that wants this, but he did his directorial debut in 2014 with a film called Before We Go, with him and Alice Eve. I want him and her as Pops from that movie. That would be awesome. Can you imagine, what was his name? Oh, God, what was his Nick something, whatever. He was a trumpet player. Can you imagine a People Pop Chris Evans trumpet player Funko Pop from that? Oh, wow, I want that. So, okay, Alpha's number 1 on my list. Chris Evans is number 2.
What about something from Not Another Teen Movie? His character.
Oh, no, thank you.
Well, we have a Lucas Lee from Scott Pilgrim, so.
Well, there you go.
And I'll tell you something. That's the one I got signed. So nice. I did get it signed. The only Lucas Lee in the set that we handed him, that was mine. So
oh wow, very cool.
I want the prototype so I could put in the box, because I have all my Scott Pilgrims out of box. So it's going to be silly looking, or I have to get another Lucas Lee to go in box, or out of box rather.
So yeah, it's so weird. Yes, as Funko collectors, folks, most of the time we are keeping them all in the box. Most of the time we are either putting them in Pop Shield armors from $7bucksapop.com or Pop Shield protectors, 2, 3, 4, 5-pack protectors, etc. But then there are times where you have to actually open the things out of box to take a photo. So I had to take a photo for our Top 100 Toys countdown. So that's the 8th countdown we're going to be doing this year. We just finished the toy guide today as far as like what people are going to see in the email that we send out about how the toy guide is, whatever else. And I'm like, Steve, the only thing that's not in the action figure section is anything about Funko. Like we have a section for action figures, we have a section for dolls, we have a section for bases and balls, we have a section for board games, we have a section for electronics, we have a section for everything. And I'm like, there is no Funko representation here at all. And I said, look, this was like 6 a.m. today this was like 14 hours ago. I'm like, look, if I get it in the right light and if I get it in the right way and I take this picture, will you just add it to the action figure section so we can at least have one? And he's like, yeah, sure, fine. So I took out, I just bought this, and luckily it's only like worth $22, so I don't mind. And honestly, Pop Towns are better out of the box than they are in the box. They surprisingly take up less room out of box than they do in box. So I opened up Wayne Manor with Alfred.
Oh, nice.
And then I took Death of the Family Joker, Red Wing Robin, 66 Batgirl. Obviously, Alfred came with the Wayne Manor. White Knight 2-pack Joker and Batman, and Flying Batman Beyond. And I put them all around Wayne Manor, and I took several shots, and I'm like, here, look. I sent Steve like a bajillion images this morning, and I said, look, okay, these are all the shots I've taken. Next message was, these are the 3 I like. Oh, wait, no, I've edited the pictures a little bit. Like, I've cropped them and whatever else a little bit. I've done a little magic eraser on my Google Pixel 6 Pro to do some blemish removal and whatever else. I'm like, okay, these are the top 3. Pick whichever one you want. And I have a 3D printed Funko sign. It's just a small little purple it's just the Funko logo as a 3D printed sign, and I put that in front of it. And I wish I could have attached it to the wall, but I didn't have anything to attach it to the wall. So who knows which one he's going to pick to put in the toy guide. But yes, we have the top 100 toys countdown coming up, and we collaborate with multiple people, websites, all kinds of places. We usually get anywhere from 20 to 40 people. Like, all of us at the Geekcast Radio Network submit our personal lists, and then everybody else in the world that we end up collaborating with, they all submit lists. So then that eventually, once my buddy Optimus Solo does the math on that, because math is evil and I refuse, once he does all that, we end up revealing the top 100 toys countdown through, this year it's going to be a 7-part series, 1 part for the intro, 1 part for the outro, and then parts 2 through 6 are 100 to 81, 80 to 61, 60 to 41, 40 to 21, and the top 20. So, yeah.
Nice. Well, I look forward to that. I look forward to hearing about that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Anything else you would like to say before I run through the closing, sir?
No, thank you for having me on here. It was a nice long talk, and
I'm sorry.
Look, it's fine. I'm just as guilty as that as you are, I'm sure. We didn't even really get to touch on Transformers as much as we should have.
It's funny you say that. 30 questions all about Transformers takes less time than this does. So I have origins for everything. We have them for Transformers, Masters of the Universe, cartoons, comics, toys, podcasting.
Well, here,
something else.
Well, let me ask you one quick question then. My one question podcast I'll present to you. Which one was your favorite Transformer?
Oh, hands down, Hot Rod / Rodimus Prime, definitely. Till the end of time.
Ride in style.
That's right.
I still think my favorite character is always going to be Starscream. But my favorite Transformer is Shockwave.
Yeah, I can go ahead. That's logical.
I mean,
Shockwave. Yeah,
he was the coolest looking one. And Soundwave, of course, is great. But
absolutely.
Starscream was probably one of the funniest characters of all time. And I have one of his Palisades toys busts of him with the crown when he crowned himself king.
He just terrorizes all of us.
Such heroic nonsense.
That's right.
Well, that was Megatron, but still, I love Starscream. He was the coolest. Well, cool. Thank you for being on my mini podcast.
Absolutely. No, that's great. Look, dude. Every time I have anybody on any of these origins, I'm like, okay, so you've done toys. Do you want to do this one? Do you want to do that? Like, you can come back anytime you want. My ultimate goal with any of this stuff that I do, did you have fun?
I did. I thank you for having me on here. I didn't know what to expect, and it was everything I could have wanted. So thank you.
Well, there you go. All right, folks, that's going to do it for us. Thank you for joining us here on Toycast. If you'd like to get in contact with us to leave feedback for the show, there are several ways to do so. Visit the website, geekcastradio.com, where you can listen to and comment on all of our content. Send any email to feedback@geekcastradio.com. Here are all the ways you can listen to us nowadays. Apple and Google Podcasts. Leave us reviews, please. Spotify and any other podcatching client you choose to use. Follow us on Twitter at GeekCastRadio for the network, at TF Toycast for the show. I am at TF2 and Mike. I believe they're at $7 a pop.
Yes, at $7 a pop and at Mystery Grail. And if you want to find me personally, I'm at Swoboda Fett.
Most overrated character in Star Wars.
But I'm very I'm rated where I should be, I think.
Yes, you are. You are awesome. He is underwhelming. I'm sorry. He died in a Sarlacc. The Sarlacc killed him.
Well, according to the new revisionist history, no. He's still here.
The new revisionist history is blind. He's still here. He's just in a BAFTA tank.
He loved baths in that show, didn't he? He's just like, all right, I'm going in the BAFTA tank again. And she's like, what are you doing for the next couple episodes?
I watched the first 5 minutes of the first episode. Nope, I'm out.
Just put on the Mandalorian.
Episode 5 or episode 8 or whenever Din and Luke return, they're probably the only 2 episodes I will ever check out of that show. Become a fan on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/Geekcast Radio Network. You can also check out Toycast over there as well as $7 a pop. And is Mystery Grill on Facebook too? I assume
they are. Yes, we share the same Twitter though.
Okay, well that's fine. Next time on Toycast, what is this? This is 177. 178 is a friend of mine, Teresa. She is the Funko Soda Queen, ladies and gentlemen, and you'll hear all about her story next time on the podcast. For now, I am TFG and Mike with
Jason Swoboda.
Join us next time as we'll be talking more toys here on Toycast.
Merchandising!